في أكبر الكتب.
Congratulations, you have found the LAMBcast, the official podcast of the large association of movie blogs, also known as the LAMB. The LAMB is the largest collective of online movie blogs and podcasts with 2,000 members and counting. Every week on the LAMBcast, various members of the LAMB community get together to talk about our favorite subject, movies. So bookmark the LAMB and follow us on social media. Be sure to join us each week to hear a lively discussion of films and movie-related talk from our members. Join the flock at largeassmovieblogs.com.
I bid you welcome. This is the LAMBcast, episode 789. Enter freely and leave some of the happiness that you bring to the show. I'm Richard Kirkham, the host of the LAMBcast, and this week we're celebrating Halloween with some nostalgia. Do you remember the first time you had nightmares from watching a scary movie? Or how about missing 80% of the movie because your hands were in front of your face? Did you hold hands with a new romantic partner when you went together to see a horror film on an early date? Maybe you were able to watch a film when you were in the company of a group of friends, but when they all went home or fell asleep, you pulled the covers over your head and cursed yourself for being so foolish. Or how about something more recent? Have you seen something lately that gave you a fright? These are the kinds of memories that we're going to be exploring today. This group was originally scheduled to talk about Mortal Kombat 2, but Warner Brothers was scared of Wicked for good, and so they're hiding in the closet until late spring. Our four guests, however, are not afraid to talk about some other movies, particularly movies from their past. Now, we're not poltergeists here. We don't know what scares you, but we're about to find out. Everyone has a different horror path that they tread, and we're going to map out that path regardless of whether we have to wander through a fog-filled forest or explore a long abandoned mansion. So make your reservations for summer camp, and let's meet the other campers who will be sitting around the fire. First up, Lisa Leaheey never gets scared at the movies anymore. Maybe her checkered past will reveal a way that filmmakers might once again spook her. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Could be. We might come up with a few deep secrets here.
You never can tell. Aaron Neuwirth also fears nothing, except maybe running out of Godzilla movies to watch.
I'm ready to talk spooky season.
Kaiju don't frighten Jeanette Ward, but maybe there's a Korean ghost that we can get to follow her home and report back to us about the sorts of noises that make her squirm.
I'm so happy to be here. I don't like horror movies, guys. This is going to be super interesting.
And 1 week after watching a direct-to-video sent to him by a stranger, Matt Poirier will be putting it in the VCR to watch it again, heedless of any curse it's supposed to have.
Yes, and considering how bad my Bruins are doing this season, I'll take any kind of respite from that.
Well, good luck to the Boston Bruins. I'm sorry, I don't follow hockey. It's one of the weird things. We've got the sports movies coming up for the movie of the month next month, and I've never been to a hockey game. I think I've watched one hockey game in my life, and hockey movies are my favorite sports movies. So it's a strange, coincidence there.
That makes sense.
6 of them?
If you ever get a chance, they're expensive, but hockey, it's expensive to go to, but it is a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's enjoyable even if you're not necessarily a hockey fan.
It's better in the arena than it is on TV.
Yeah, that's what I hear. It's a lot more fun to be there. We've got a little team. I shouldn't say a little team. I'm sure they're a very successful minor league hockey team right down the street here, and we keep talking about going down there because it's just a couple miles down the road. So I'm going to have to do that. But I didn't bring my hockey stick to beat you with today. Instead, we've got a series of prompts to talk about, things that hopefully will either encourage people to look up some old movies or at least understand us a little bit better. So we're going to start with the easiest one. Look, it's already been said. Some of us don't get scared at horror movies anymore, and others probably do. I was just wondering first, what's the first theatrical horror movie that you can remember that scared you? And Matt, I thought we'd start with you in this one.
Wow, yeah, and I was trying to think of what that was because I remember I haven't seen a lot of horror movies in the theater, but I remember Scream being intense at the beginning, right? That was less like, "Whoa, what is going to happen here with that scene?" But I remember being scared. I mean, I think the movie that scared me the most was actually going to see Batman as a 10-year-old and expecting Adam West and Cesar Romero and getting what we got there. But yeah, that one and Blair Witch, I remember being creeped out by that one, just being like, just completely like, I don't know what to do with it. I mean, I think the movie that scared me as a kid wasn't a theatrical movie. It was a TV movie. I was I don't know if I was flipping through the channels or something, but on Channel 38 in Boston, they played Trilogy of Terror. And
I knew that's what you were going to say when you said it was a TV movie.
yes. Yeah. I think it was like, because back then if you were playing the Atari, you had to have it on Channel 3, and that's what WSBK, that Boston independent channel was. And I think I'd switched off I'd toggled off the Atari, and there's Karen Black being chased around by this little doll. And I was just like, I couldn't sleep for weeks after that.
Well, you've got a whole list of ones that probably would be memorable for some people. I took my kids to see the Batman movie when they were very young, and I kept warning them because they had seen the Adam West Batman. I said, "This is not the same thing. You should be very careful about this. If you are uncomfortable, let me know, and we'll walk out." They were fine. They were just, but that's the world that we live in sometimes. And Blair Witch. I'm still wondering what's supposed to be scary about that, but the world is full of people who liked it. So
Batman, I said this many times in other podcasts, is my earliest memory as a person seeing Batman in the theater at 3 years old.
Yep.
And I've always loved Batman, so I guess it kind of works and play with each other. Anyway,
That ties directly into my answer to this.
The Dark Knight strikes again.
My earliest memory, one of my earliest memories in the theater being what scared me the most.
Well, that's good timing, Jeanette, because I was going to ask you next what
wow,
scared
look
you
at
in
that.
the film. Synchronicity.
And again, I really have to apologize here. Not a huge horror fan, so a lot of my answers are going to be horror adjacent.
That's
in this
okay.
question, I find something that scared you in the theater, and there's a lot of options, I think, for this. But the earliest I remember being terrified in the movie theater is the movie E.T.
Oh, wow.
Because we definitely saw that in the theater. And 1982, yes?
Yes.
So if we do the math, I was born in 76. Someone else do the math.
6.
Thank you. Was I too young to see E.T. in the theater? Maybe. Was it just the fact that the special effects were so good and that animatronic alien was so real?
Not to mention when he's ill and he's dying. That scared a lot
that's
of
the
people.
question I have.
Exactly what I was about to say.
Yep.
That scene, like I could tolerate the rest and I was handling it. When he starts to get sick and it starts to fade away and it's tied to Elliot, that terrified me and gave me nightmares for weeks, to the point where I still get creeped out by seeing pictures of E.T., dolls of E.T. If it is in a commercial for being played on TV next week, it terrifies me. I don't care for E.T. I don't like him.
One of my friends is exactly the same way.
Have you watched E.T. since?
See, and isn't that the question, right? Because would that solve the issue? Or would it make it worse? I'm not willing to take that chance yet.
The PTSD of ET is too strong.
Exactly.
That's it.
What's funny is that I tied into like first memory in the theater. That is the first I remember, like being in the theater and being horrified and not wanting to walk out but couldn't. But I also have a distinct memory of seeing Empire Strikes Back in the theater, and that would have been. But that is my first theater memory of all time, and I remember the Hand of the Wampa also scaring me.
Sure.
Which, of course, now that's my favorite movie of all time. So maybe the answer is to see E.T. thousands and thousands of times. So maybe that's the answer. I'll keep you guys updated if I try to watch it again.
Isn't that how you solve your phobias? You expose yourself to them repeatedly?
Yeah, no, I've never bought into that. I'm good avoiding it for the rest of my life.
You'd like horror more if you did. I'll tell you that.
I haven't seen Batman again since either. I've seen Batman Returns. I don't know how many times because I loved that one. But I realized going into this, I was like, I haven't seen that original. It's on HBO Max. I could watch it whenever, and I just haven't yet.
I just had a talk with someone about this. Like, I love that movie, but if you watch it again, it's too long. And there are some scenes where you're like, what is happening here? But it is excellent.
All right. We're not going to be frightened by Batman or E.T. anymore. We're going to be frightened by something really terrifying. Aaron is going to tell us what bugged him when he was first exposed to a horror movie.
I have some hilarious answers here. Like, so I interpreted this question as just like the first, like, you said theatrical horror film. I just think of that as like a horror film, right? Just like a horror film that was at some point in theaters.
Okay.
Correct? That's not like not something specifically that I watched in a theater that scared me, but just like a full-length horror film. So like no TV allowed and that kind of thing. Although I think Trilogy of Terror is quite frightening and totally counts. Karen Black and that little guy. So as far as it's tricky to think of what's first, but when I was young, there were two things that I know scared me that I'd since been like, why did that scare me? I can just like kick it. One is Leprechaun, Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun in the first Leprechaun film, which at the time, knowing it now, it's like, okay, this movie's it's inherently comedic. Like it's not trying to be necessarily scary. But at the time when I was a kid, and you have this evil looking leprechaun with some pretty fantastic makeup, despite the rest of the movie being what it is. I was like, okay, this thing is, I don't like this. I don't like watching, I don't like the idea of this thing killing people. Like, that's not fun to me. And the other is Chucky, specifically Child's Play 2. Child's Play 2, where he's more active, because in Child's Play, part of the joy of that movie is, wait, is Andy the one doing this? Am I being messed with? Like, you don't necessarily know it's Chucky for sure until he actually comes to life. Child's Play 2, the gig's up, so it's just Chucky just being Chucky the whole time. And he does some vicious things in that movie. He kills that teacher with like a meter stick at one, like he beats her up. He does some other dastardly things. And I was being like, I don't like this. I don't like this doll chasing after me. Now I'm an adult. I'm just like, I can just kick Chucky away. Like that doesn't seem like a really difficult thing to get over. But those are the two things that like I knew were like, I don't like seeing this. This makes me upset when I was very young. There's one other film that like messed me up because I just didn't get it as far as like, or it was just messing with my head too much, which is Lawnmower Man. Because I saw that when I was way too young, and I was like, I don't understand how virtual reality works, and I don't like the idea that his virtual reality powers are making him like blow people's minds up. So it was like, this is too intense for me. I don't like this. So
Fuck you,
Lawnmower Man. That's where it was. I've since seen the Lawnmower Man again, and I'm like, again, this is dumb. This is a dumb movie. I'm glad Jeff Fahey got some fame off of this, but I'm glad Pierce Brosnan survived the Lawnmower Man, but this movie is not very good.
Well, I never saw Lawnmower Man, so I can't tell you how creepy it is, but you know, whatever's creepy is creepy to you.
Hey, if there's one thing that's worse, that's creepier than Lawnmower Man, it's Lawnmower Man 2, Beyond Cyberspace. Featuring Matt Frewer. That's the Lawnmower Man.
It's so interesting that whole idea of like what terrifies you when you're little and then watching it again, like, yeah, would it make a difference? Is it not going to hold up in the same way, or is that imprint on your brain too powerful to overcome?
Well, I'll have an answer to that in just a minute, but
so that's what I'm saying. You have to see E.T. because I've seen Leprechaun plenty of. I've seen all the Child's Play now is one of my, outside of Halloween's, my favorite like slasher franchise, because I love Chucky. Give me all the Chucky you want. As a kid,
I know
though,
there are people out there who love E.T. and I just, man,
the world.
Yes.
Well, you know, this video game is the really scary part of that whole experience.
Yeah.
Lisa, I know that you don't get scared at the movies anymore. What did you get scared at the first time?
And so it's funny because I'm thanking Aaron for interpreting this more widely, because it helped my answer. Because if you're looking for the first horror film that scared me, and I'm thinking theatrical, what the hell did I see in the theater that actually scared me? I do have some answers. But as far as a movie that was theatrical that scared me, it's definitely Poltergeist. And not for the reason most people think. The clown had no effect on me. I am a rare Gen Xer who is not afraid of clowns.
Yeah, what is our deal?
I don't know, but everyone points to Poltergeist and the 1990 It, but it didn't affect me, I guess. Yeah, they're scary, like Tim Curry with those sharp teeth is scary, but it doesn't bother me. Poltergeist got me. Poltergeist got me to the effect that I kept a towel. I had a small TV in my room, my bedroom, and I put a towel over it every night because that's going to keep the ghosts from coming out to get
That'll
me.
keep you safe.
Yes.
I like
And then
that.
at some
Everybody
point,
knows
I
that
caught-
terry cloth is a good barrier to
Totally.
spooks. Yes.
And blankets.
The higher the
Okay.
thread count, the better.
And this is what I'm saying. I mean, I understood logic as a child, and this is what I went with. And then at some point, I saw Poltergeist 3. And in Poltergeist 3, they have those closets covered with mirrors, or the walls are covered with mirrors. And Caroline is grabbed and like lifted. So I put a towel over the door mirror as well.
Uh-huh.
And this was only at night. I was fine during the day, but at night when I was sleeping, that terry cloth was essential. I will say, and I'm going to open myself up to it, but this is the thing. The only movie I have ever sat through in a theater covering my eyes the entire time is Slither. 2006 Slither. I do not do well with anything with fewer than 2 legs or more than 4. And my
So
friend,
tripods are cool.
I'm okay with those. Yeah, I'm
Tripods
good.
are like fine. Yeah, all right.
You got 3 legs, I'm okay with you. 4,
Gotcha.
2, I'm good. Like
I love
lizards.
this analysis.
Lizards don't bother me. Frogs don't bother me. None of that bothers me. Snakes, slugs,
Centipedes.
insects. Nope. So
Millipedes,
my
centipedes,
friend
yeah.
at school convinced me to go see Slither. To this day, we laugh about it and go, I don't know how the hell you got me to go see this movie, because I knew damn well I was not going to do okay with this. Despite the fact that it is a full-on comedy, I cannot handle the number of slugs coming up the bathtub, coming up the wall, crawling around. I couldn't do it. He actually turned to me. He's like, "You were serious?" I was like, "Yes." I cannot handle this.
There are some
When
David Cronenberg films that you should see.
No, I have never finished Halloween 3. I get to the end and I go, okay, because I recently tried this within the last 10 years. I'm like, I'm going to watch it again. And I watched it and we get to that ending and I kind of look away. And my move is I will look away because it's usually only a couple of seconds. The end of that movie goes on and on and on. And I finally get to a point where I'm like, I'm done. I got to turn it off. I can't handle it. If it's parasites, if it's like multiple worms, snakes, things. This shows you how bad Anaconda is, because it was fine with that movie unless there was a real snake in the shot. And then I had to.
That's fascinating.
I can't do it.
How do you feel about is it Wrath of Khan? The beginning.
Oh, I can't imagine you could handle that.
I don't think I've seen it.
I think you'd know if you'd seen it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Like,
absolutely.
The giant
Indiana
earwig.
Jones. Oh God. No,
Temple of Doom. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, Indiana Jones. Why
Temple of Doom. Yeah.
Snakes. That's me.
Oh, I love Temple of Doom. We saw it at the Chinese theater when it opened, and you could see people lifting their feet off of the ground.
That would be me. That would absolutely be me. When it comes to this kind, it just drives me nuts because it's like, damn it, now I can't look. And I will say the only time my head has involuntarily turned from the screen was in Sinister, with the various home movies and the one that had the lawnmower. I was looking away before I realized it. And I was like, holy crap, I did not realize my head would do that. It was amazing to me. Like, I've obviously seen it since, and it stops before anything you need. But my head involuntarily turned away. I was like, okay, you guys have done something right here, because usually I'm okay. But my face, my brain was like, no, you're not watching this. So those are mine for this particular category.
That's good. That's excellent. Lots of things. Well, my memory is older than those things, but I was scared by plenty of things that I watched on TV when I was a kid. But I was thinking when I came up with the question of theatrical films, so I have an experience that it tests that theory that we were talking about before. Does it hold up after time? Because this definitely doesn't. And when I saw the movie 4 or 5 years ago, I said, I was scared of this. This is a little weird. I went to a double feature back in 1971 of Willard and The House That Dripped Blood. And Willard creeped me out, But for some reason, The House That Dripped Blood, there's a scene in the last, it's an anthology film. There's a scene in the last sequence where there's a vampire and he's kind of flying up and hangs off the ceiling with blood dripping from his fangs. And I had nightmares over that. I was 12 years old at the time and I went, holy criminy, that was scary. And part of the reason was it was the first time I was when I got to be 12, I started going to the movies by myself or with my friends only, not with my family. And this was one of those ones that a friend of mine wanted to see Willard. I said, great. And there were two movies. I said, I'm not going to miss a second movie, so we're going to watch that too. And I had no idea what it was, and I just went, and I had, like I said, nightmares. And then I saw the movie a few years ago, and it's kind of laughable, but that's my memory of being scared in the movies. Now, I got to admit to you that was 1971. I did go and see The Exorcist 2 years later, and I that was an experience that is hard to imagine if you didn't live through that period of time because it scared adults a lot. My dad had a friend, they went to see the movie. This is a guy who was in his late 30s or early 40s when he went to see the movie, and he stayed at our house and slept on the couch that night when they came back from the movie. So it freaked me out. And when I finally saw it, I walked out of the theater and my back was covered with sweat because I sweated in fright the whole time I saw that movie. So that was the most intense fright I had, and that one still gets me, unlike The House That Dripped Blood.
That's one of those things, like they say to you, like, if you could go back in time to any time, where would you go? I want to go and see The Exorcist in the theater upon release. I want to experience that. That seems like such a thing that I mean, obviously you can't get that anymore. You don't get anything close to that anymore. But that idea of like the original blockbuster, the original
Yeah.
stand outside in line, like I would love to have done that.
Yeah, that's exactly what the experience was too. I had to drive across town. I had to wait in line. People were, spooked by the movie before they even went in. And I was tense the whole time the movie was on. And every time they went up to that bedroom, I was going, crap. All right. Well, theatrical experiences aside, we know that a lot of people, especially of generations that came after mine, are people who discovered horror movies at their local Blockbuster, on their cable networks, on television. And there are a couple of things that I found on television too. So I thought that's where we would head next. The first horror film that you discovered on video or regular TV that you thought was really good and really scary. And Lisa, I know that nothing scares you, but there's got to be a horror film that you discovered on video or TV that does it for you and that you like and would recommend to people.
Oh, absolutely. So it's funny you mention it because when I was a kid, I was scared of everything. And in our grocery store used to have like the little video rental section at the end of the checkout area.
Oh yeah.
So when my mother was standing there checking out her groceries, I would go and look at the videotape boxes. And for whatever reason, I was fascinated by looking at the horror movie videotape boxes all the time. Like there's a number of movies on video that I remember simply looking at the box and being disturbed by, like a couple of the Nightmare on Elm Streets disturbed me, that sort of stuff. But as far as the first ones I saw on television, they were with my mom because my mom would put stuff on TNT, TBS. I remember Wolfen, which was that,
with Albert Finney, yeah.
Yes. But what I remember about it most is the point of view of the wolves, right? How you get that weird scrambly kind of point of view over the camera. And that fascinated me, this idea of looking through the beast's eyes. And as far as recommending, my favorite horror anthology is a TV movie called Nightmares from 1983. Although that may have been a theatrical release because it's got Emilio Estevez in it. But I love the concept of this particular film. One of the best ones is the Emilio Estevez story where he goes up into an arcade and he's trying to defeat the Bishop of Battle. And it's this wonderful digital arcade game that nobody has ever beat, and nobody has ever gotten to the final level. And of course he manages. And I just, in the age of video games and this sort of stuff coming through and growing up with that particular story fascinated me. And it's to this day one of my favorite anthologies. I have it on VHS. I've got it on Blu-ray. Unfortunately, it's a little tricky to get your hands on. But it's definitely worth it if you're looking for a fun anthology that might have gotten past you.
Do you still have a VHS player? Can you play it on the VHS?
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
Oh, yeah. I have the VHS is attached to my TV.
Excellent. Yes, I've got one sitting right here doing the same thing,
Yeah, when I bought VHS copies of Skinamarink and Late Night with the Devil. There's no other way to see those except on VHS, as far as I'm concerned.
I didn't know that they put out a copy of Late Night with the Devil on VHS. Damn it. I've got to go and search. Shoot.
Yes.
Yeah, this is clearly a sales ploy, that this whole episode is all about selling people stuff, and I've sold myself on something right now. Now I have to go and search. Damn.
It comes with a TV guide, Richard.
Oh, I'm going
telling you, it's
I'm going
amazing.
to eBay the minute we're done here.
I'm telling you, it's great.
Because that was my favorite film of that year.
Amazing film.
Well, Matt is our expert on direct-to-video because face it, that's his whole bag. And so I know that he's got to have a couple of things that really work for it.
Definitely. So the
Matt,
first one actually was a movie that was released theatrically that I saw on TV. So as a kid, all of my friends loved horror, and I was always afraid of it. And I think part of the reason was growing up with my parents watching the news at night, you'd get like real horror. I mean, I remember the Ted Bundy trial going on and like Peter Jennings giving all the grisly details while I'm eating my fish sticks and stuff like that. And I think I always thought horror was like that kind of real thing. And I did a sleepover with my friend, and he had he wanted to watch Friday the 13th part 6. It was playing on WLVI, another channel in Boston. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I was like, okay, I can look away if it gets really bad. And I ended up having a really great time with it. I thought it was like the most fun thing ever. And so that kind of first got me into horror, was this idea of like, oh, real life stuff is horrible. Yes. But like actual movie stuff is a ton of fun. So that's what got me into horror. And then I think for like direct to video horror, I don't know if this movie is technically direct to video, but my friends and I were big fans of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and we had a big sleepover night. I think it was like maybe freshman year of high school, where we all went to the video store and picked like the worst movies we can find. And my friend picked out this movie called Bad Taste. It had, the right, yes, and on the one of the reviews said your VCR will cry out for windshield wipers. Like, how can you not love this? So we're watching it and we're making fun of it to begin with, and suddenly we realize we're not making fun of it, right? We're just enjoying this thing. And of course, that's Peter Jackson who directed that. He went out to do win Oscars and things like that. But we just started going to the video store and getting all the horror comedy we could get. So it was like Blood Diner, Blood Sucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh, all those kinds of movies that were just and really that's part of the reason I think why I don't have so many horror movies in the theater, because I was more a fan of this low budget horror comedy kind of thing. So those are the two, the Friday the 13th part 6, which if you haven't seen that one in a while, it is kind of a fun one. But yeah, Bad Taste. I've got that one. I've got some, so the VHS copy we had rented the two VCR, or we rented a VCR from the video store and made our own copy of it because you couldn't find it anywhere, nobody knew that, right? The director. Right, exactly. Because who thought that the director was going to suddenly, win Oscars and do Lord of the Rings movies, and suddenly all of his catalog is going to be available on Blu-ray and stuff like that. But yeah, so those are the two that I have for me.
Yeah, I don't think Bad Taste ever went to theaters in America. Obviously, probably very, very limited, but it was certainly a cult film in Australia or New Zealand. So. Still waiting for, because Jackson said a while ago that he's going to make 4Ks for that and Meet the Feebles and my favorite, Dead Alive or Brain Dead. And still nothing. Still just, I don't know, working on Beatles footage or whatever he's doing.
He got sidetracked. Well, Aaron, what have you been sidetracked by when it comes to video and horror?
This is a tricky one as far as first. I'm going to tell you right now, every one of these questions has multiple answers because there's so many things to go through. But
I think we've established that's going to happen.
I'm trying to be quick so I don't overload it with just detailed in every single one of these.
That's cool.
My mom was a huge horror fan. I'm a horror fan because my mom loved horror so much. So there's a number of films I certainly saw younger than I probably would have otherwise. One of her favorite movies was The Bad Seed, And if I had to guess, I bet The Bad Seed or Psycho were probably like the first horror films I like saw on TV. Just because and like we watched a lot of Alfred Hitchcock Presents as well. So like I'm sure the one of those is probably it. That said, I know at an early age I saw Halloween and Night of the Living Dead as far as films that like scared me when I was really, really young. I know that's certainly in that area. But the one I want to make note of, like specifically, that like I discovered like on my own and actually scared me when I was like old enough to like know better. Um, it's and I'll get to what it is in a second, but like I'll describe it basically because there's a lot of movies like this where there's a black cat and it's like somehow causing destruction of some kind, right? And there's a lot of films from the early days of horror that involve like black cats, right? There's that are like evil in some way. I, for the life of me, for the longest time, was trying to find what this movie was that I saw, and I was looking at all these other black cat movies from a long, long time ago, there's one with like Vincent Price, I think. There's one from like the 30s, and I was like, these are too old. This isn't it. I finally figured out what it was when I watched Tales from the Dark Side.
Yes.
The Tales from the
So
Dark
the
Side movie. And I had like this would be like what would happen if Jeanette like watched E.T. on accident and it was just suddenly like flashing back and having like crazy panic dreams. Like, wait a minute, this is getting me. Where I watched Tales from the Dark Side, and it gets to um the segment that has I believe William Hickey
Yep.
um where I'm trying to find the thing so I could get it right. But like there's this whole elaborate like there's a like a mobster I think in like a old like gothic mansion, and he encounters this like um this like evil cat, and he's trying to like kill the cat the entire time, and the cat keeps getting like the better of him and like scratching him and doing all this stuff. It's called The Cat from Hell. Yeah. A wealthy old man using a wheelchair brings a hitman to kill this black cat. That's what's going on. And the cat just keeps like being like just getting away from everything. He like the hitman thinks he kills the cat and the cat still gets away. Finally, the cat gets the better of the hitman, kills him, and then like I like watching this again. Like the most crazy thing happens as far as the cat being like inside William Hickey's like body, and he comes out his mouth, and it's gross and gory. And I'm like, okay, this is I don't remember seeing all of this. I feel like I got away from this movie at some points from seeing that detail when I finally rewatched this thing and discovered what it was. But the Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, which is it's a solid anthology movie. It's got a lot of the shorts are all really good.
Absolutely.
But the Cat from Hell segment's one that I had like weird flashbacks to as far as like, oh, this is this is the thing that I was thinking of when I was very young.
Yeah, my memory of it was the cat was going down, not coming out.
Oh,
But
there. Okay, there it
I
is,
could be
going down.
wrong.
No, I think no, you're right. No, I think he like he forcibly shoves himself inside William Hickey's mouth, and then
yes,
like I think like comes out of his stomach alien style or something later on.
yeah, Lisa, this has four legs, but I think it would have that effect on you from
Yeah.
those other movies, because
It's funny. Yeah,
it's
those I mean,
disgusting.
the cats will get to you, but it's funny because the one that got me it was in Cat's Eye, where the cat is actually like chasing the troll into the fan. But
Oh yeah.
no, somehow I was not afraid of cats. I got 4 of them here. I'm still okay.
Well, that sequence is vomitous, as they say, and it was just disgusting. And it's another one of those ones with practical effects, and you go, "Oh, how did they do that?" I don't know. I don't want to watch it, but I do want to see it
I
because I
love
gotta
that kind
know how
of
it goes.
that kind of
Yeah,
effects the best, where you're like, I'm happy this exists, and I'm happy not knowing exactly how it's done.
there you are.
Mm-hmm.
There you are.
There's a couple
Well,
in Day of the Dead that I still feel about that. Where I'm like, I'm happy not knowing how.
well, I'm going to jump into two that are very different from each other that I discovered on TV. One was on video, and one was on a cable channel. Uh, the cable channel one is the oldest one. It's from 1944. It's The Uninvited with Ray Milland. And my wife and we stumbled across this one night, and we watched it, and the kids were asleep, and we're sitting in the apartment, and the lights are out, and it creeped us out. It's just a ghost story, and it's you wouldn't think it would be particularly scary, but it was creepy as all hell, and I've really enjoyed revisiting it a couple of times. It's a lot of fun. It's an old school spooky kind of film, so it's black and white, and there you do finally see a ghost toward the end, and it's a Pepper's ghost kind of effect that they've got going on there, but it worked pretty well. And but the sound of the film was the thing that I remember the most, and just the there's a whole feeling of dread the whole time. And then the other one that I discovered on video is one that we talked about last month, is movie of the month, or actually it's this month, the Reanimator. So I'm not going to go into that one again, but that was a big discovery that I made on video, having heard about it and not really having a chance to see it in theaters, and only being able to catch up with it later on when it was available uh, to rent. Reanimator has again, great gruesome practical effects that are a lot of fun. But if you guys want to know more what I think about Reanimator, you can listen to last week's show or 2 weeks ago.
To go back to The Uninvited, I'm fascinated that that movie isn't more well known. I feel like that one has somehow slipped under the radar for a lot of people, even general horror fans, because it's so good.
Well, I'm
Are
glad
there
you
some of
agree.
those that you're surprised they haven't, like the remake?
They did remake The Uninvited. It's just terrible, like
Yeah,
most of
it's really bad.
But
Okay,
I think
never mind.
if I had
Question
to
withdrawn.
if I had to guess, I think The Haunting sort of usurped the sort of power of that movie as far as
Yeah.
popularity. Like they're in a kind of they're not the same, but I think there's something about the kind of time frame they exist in and how they're kind of filmed where that one just has a bit more sway than The Uninvited does.
Yeah, makes sense.
Sometimes
Speculation.
it's just timing. Well,
Yeah.
Jeanette, have you got one that you discovered on video?
Yeah, I've got three.
Accidentally, probably because you weren't looking for a horror film.
She's absolutely correct. Slumber parties. Slumber parties were always where at least I encountered horror movies that I never would have sought out on my own, and I
Yeah, that's
distinctly
where all my trauma came from too.
see. Yep.
Chroma.
But I think it also reinforces and this is a larger discussion, but the beauty of horror, and it's the one genre that is always going to be, it's always going to be there. It's never going away because in theory, they're cheap to make, and everyone enjoys, not everyone, but most people enjoy being scared. And it's that communal experience of when you go to the theater or when you're at a slumber party and somebody's like, let's watch something scary. It's that when you're all together, right? And then in the back of your mind, where I don't have to be the fastest, just faster than the slowest person. But I distinctly remember seeing Deadly Friend at a slumber party, and that was from 1986. It had Christy Swanson, and it had to do with like the dying in the robotics, and I can't even exactly remember some of it, but I just remember being terrified, and I think it kind of went into like and this is the other amazing thing about horror, right? You get these subgenres within it where you have like horror comedies, you got the slasher, you've got um
Zombie films,
zombie, the
whatever.
torture porn, and et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. So there's all kinds of sci-fi horror, right? I think that one is one I don't even remember what category it fits into because I blacked out most of it. I just remember being very afraid of it. So I feel like that one answers the question. The one that I remember being introduced to by my parents, my dad at the minimum, and again, this is one of those where sci-fi horror, maybe not horror, but the original Alien. It probably just missed seeing it in the theater, but I remember seeing it on video at the house and being like, this is horrifying, but I can't look away. And all of these characters are so interesting. And it's that beautiful technique of you don't see it until the final reveal. And that makes it scarier. Like the original Xenomorph,
Yes.
all the way through that movie. And it's so interesting watching Alien and then Aliens and knowing that Alien is basically a horror movie, but Aliens is an action movie. And the difference between the two, I really, the first one is it's some classic horror movie tropes where here's your group of people. Now there's an external scary thing, and they're going to get picked off one at a time until the final person standing can figure out how to handle this. And watching that's one I can watch over and over again. Definitely the first time I saw it on video, and I think I have a stronger appreciation for it. The stepping very briefly into the horror comedy, or at least horror with a tongue-in-cheek aspect to it, in college, we definitely watched. We wore our. There was no Blockbuster near us. We had a family video, and we rented Tales from the Crypt Demon Night over and over and over
That movie
again.
rocks. I
We were so in a Billy Zane hole, and we saw all the Billy Zane stuff. And
That is a
if you know,
good place to be.
so
woo, that
I
movie.
I I literally just saw Demon Knight again for the first time with an audience at there's a
Oh, fun!
there's a retro theater out here called Vidiots that does like great, it's like Clinton's New Beverly Theater where it just does like specialized programming all month. And so they had Demon Knight playing and I was like, great, let's do that. And I went there and the director Ernest Dickerson was also there to do a
Oh,
Q and A
fun!
afterwards. I got to meet Ernest Dickerson. He was very friendly and very cool. He had a lot of cool stories about Demon Knight, but Demon Knight rocks. That movie is so much fun.
Fantastic.
It's nice that it's found more of an audience over the years, but because it's like a really good one, but like it went overlooked for a good while before
Yeah.
people kind of picked up on
The
how
the
much fun it
story is pretty great, and
Yeah, it's really tight,
everybody,
too.
it's got a packed cast,
Uh-huh.
and
Yep.
like the effects are good, and I love it. Reminds me, I think I saw the movie Legion later on, but it has that same vibe of like, here's a group of people, they're trapped in this thing, things are coming, and until they can figure out how to. Also, maybe the best use of Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't know.
She's very good at it.
CCH Pounder being excellent. What's his name? Naked.
Thomas Hayden
Die
Church.
Hard 2.
Oh,
William Sadler.
William
Yes.
Yeah, William
That's-
Sadler in a rare lead role, basically, for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie's great.
The Billy Zane's a riot, though, in that movie. He's
So
so much
good.
fun.
It was one of the first times, because that man has been shaving his head since forever, and
No, he's
has-
bald. He's not shaving his head. He's bald.
Okay, all right, calm down.
Yeah.
but that is the first time I remember him being like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I am bald." As
It's
opposed
the first
to,
time he did it.
I'm wearing a terrible wig, and it's totally my hair, guys.
Dickerson talked about that, like when they when he came in to talk about doing the part, he had like he travels with like a suitcase that had all of his toupees in it.
Terrible wigs, yeah.
And he was trying to tell him like, hey, so which one do you want? He put on all these, and he's like, what if we just went with the bald look? And he's like, all right. So that was his first movie where he came out as a bald man, and
Yeah.
And I don't
And
have anything
looks
against
so
it.
good bald.
He honestly looks great bald. He's one of the rare
good.
white men that look good bald.
Yeah.
So,
It's the eyebrows that do it. I think.
Absolutely.
he has a good face. I mean, he's a model.
Yeah, that's
so, I
it.
mean,
You
like,
got to have a face that will allow you to get away with the bald head.
Richard knows he has a good face.
I'm working on the bald. I still have some hair.
So yes, that is one that brings me joy, and I will watch over and over again. And it's a great on video watching a group of people fun movie.
You mentioned Deadly Friend. That's Wes Craven.
Yes.
In '84, he does Nightmare on Elm Street. In '88, he does Serpent and the Rainbow, which I think both of those films are very good. In between those, he has Hills Have Eyes Part 2 and Deadly Friend, which I think is pretty much the worst period of Wes Craven's entire career.
All right. Well, we're not going to have deadly friends here. We're going to have all of our friends together for the next couple of minutes because we're going to ask you to tell us about seeing a movie on a date. And if you've gone with somebody that you are interested in romantically to a horror film, there's usually a reason for that. And if you went to a drive-in, there was especially a good reason for that. Aaron, have you seen a film on a date?
Have I seen a film on a
A
date?
horror film, of course. A horror film. A horror film.
Plenty. Yes. There's another one where I have a couple. Because I'm not quite like so. Okay, I saw Red Eye with a girlfriend at the time, which
Love that movie.
which is Wes Craven once again. I guess that's more thriller than like horror, but like it was one where, and she was particularly excited to see Red Eye as well. So it's like, all right, well so we saw Red, and I was happy to see horror movies. But there's Red Eye. But the year before, this is where it gets tricky. I know we saw the Stepford Wives remake, which we all obviously love. And I mean, I guess that's horror-ish. It's kind of evil.
It's horrifying.
It's yeah, for
Horror
a
is the
number of
fact that
reasons.
you can't get that time back.
Yeah, so so like that's one instance. With my most recent girlfriend, I know we saw 10 Cloverfield Lane together, and she's not a horror fan. So that made things a little trickier as far as convincing her to see certain movies. But we saw 10 Cloverfield Lane, which we had a great time at actually, so I was very happy about that. And then I know we also saw Grindhouse at a in LA. They do this series called Cinespia. They do these screenings at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. So these large outdoor screenings at like the space in the cemetery, which is like all, it's all celebrities, like graves, but there's a big open space area where they project a big a meter, the movie on the side of like a big building that works out to have these shots. So they did Grindhouse one year, which I know we were able to see as well. Which was it's fun to see that movie with a big crowd and everything, but that was another like horror example that I know I specifically went on with her.
Did any of those times end the relationship?
No. No. If anything, 10 Cloverfield Lane was a good building point as far as me understanding what she'd be able to tolerate. And the other girlfriend, she was happy with seeing horror movies, so it didn't really matter at that point. She was desperate to see Saw 2 at one point when it was coming. It was like, I wanted to see Legend of Zorro. She wanted to see Saw 2.
My kind of gal.
That's a good choice.
Lisa,
Lisa.
that one was good. It's interesting because I had a hard time coming up with this. So my high school boyfriend and I went to go see Interview with the Vampire. And it's the first rated R movie I saw in the theater.
Nice.
He had a friend, his older brother had a friend who, would go get us the tickets and then take off. So that's, I guess, the closest I got as far as like the first one in the theater. And it wasn't for the purposes of, oh, maybe she'll be scared and she'll cuddle into it. No, I was the one who was like chaotic and wanted to see this movie and had the poster on my wall and everything. So the problem is I started going to movies alone in 2000. The first movie I ever saw by myself was Fantasia 2000 because nobody would go. And I also saw Dracula 2000. So it helps me remember when I started seeing movies by myself.
I love Dracula 2000, unironically.
I'm glad you do.
Someone has to.
I will admit it's terrible, but I do love it.
I'm a brain scan fan. I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. But and I was with somebody in 2000. So that was when I was turned 20 in 1999. So when I was single, I didn't go to horror movies with people because I went by myself because I knew I wanted to see them. However, I did see The Forgotten on a date. This Julianne Moore thing where she's like convinced that her child is missing or whatever. And what I remember about seeing this movie is that it has one of those moments where they're in the car and they get crashed into out of nowhere. And it's one of those tropes that every single time it happens, I will jump. And I hate it and it annoys me. And I was on a date with this guy and I jumped and I was like, God damn it. Now this guy thinks I can't handle these movies. That's what I thought. That was literally what I thought. I went, crap, here we go. Now I'm going to have to say, oh, that didn't really scare me. He's not going to believe. Needless to say, it didn't end up lasting anyway. But I remember that moment specifically, just being so annoyed at myself. To shift it a little bit, if you'll indulge me, my brother and I went to go see Prometheus, and we brought my now husband. And I still don't know how he agreed to come to this because my husband does not like horror at all. And I remember sitting there with him watching this movie and like the self-abortion scene, and he was squirming so bad. I'm like, this man is never going to come out with me again because I brought him to this movie. But needless to say, he stuck around. He's still here. But when he walks into a dark room, he goes, what terrible thing are you watching now? And then he turns around and walks back out.
Did you take him to the sequel, Alien Covenant, of course?
No, I don't even ask him anymore. I don't even ask anymore.
Man's got to know his limitations.
He does.
You've got the
He's
right
like,
guy.
nope.
He knows his limitations. I like it. Well, I have an early experience with trying to take somebody to a horror film that didn't work out. And then later on, we did manage to get to a horror film together. The woman that I eventually married, she went to a different school than I did. We met on debate tournaments. We kind of started talking and going back and forth on the phone. And I finally invited her to go with me to see The Exorcist. It was in a re-release playing at what was at the time the Warner Theater, but it's now the El Capitan Theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
And and she said she would do that, and I was excited. I was looking forward to it. And then she called me the day before and backed out. And her excuse was that she had already made plans with a girlfriend, and she didn't think it was right to bail out on her girlfriend for a boy. And I said, okay, I understand that. I didn't think it was because she was afraid of seeing The Exorcist. But it was 3 years later before we finally saw a horror film together, and we saw Phantasm. And it was one of those times when we were in such great synchronicity. It was amazing because we looked at each other afterwards and went, what the F was that? And we both really liked it, and it creeped us out, but we were going, where did that come from? How did that happen? That was too fun. And so it was nice. At this point we were already, pretty involved with each other, and we were a year away from getting married, but it was nice to know that she could jump into something like that with me and appreciate it. And so I wasn't looking to get her to sidle up next to me, and I just the movie was playing. I said, well, let's go see that. And she said, okay. And we had a great similar reaction to it, which made me very happy.
I recently watched Phantasm for the very first time when I blind spots for the longest of periods.
Oh, cool.
And I really enjoyed it, and I've heard very good things about Phantasm too, so I'm excited to watch that as well.
Good. Jeanette, I know that that's probably not the thing that would have made you happiest if your date took you to a horror
Yeah.
film.
No, if he suggested it, I'd be like, well, this is not not the gentleman for me.
I have a
It-
better story of the wrong movie to take a first date to, but Jeanette, you do first.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm kind of along the same lines as Lisa. Like, I very early on realized that I love movies so much, and I love seeing movies in a theater with a crowd, that I'm not interested in going with someone who's going to either want to interact with me while the movie is happening or want to. I'm there for the movie, I'm not there for you. So very early on was like, oh wait, I can go by myself. This is the best thing ever.
Best
So
thing
dates
ever.
for me tend to end up not being movies, but I distinctly remember one, and it was one of those, again, talking about subgenres in horror where, like, maybe it's not billed as a horror movie, or you couldn't really tell from or maybe it's not supposed to be, but then it ended up at Stir of Echoes. Kevin Bacon has a lot in his oeuvre that will sneak up on you. I feel like Stir of Echoes snuck up on me. Like, that one terrified me. I
That's
don't
a
like
good
any
one.
kind of ghost stuff where it's happening like in between frequencies or stuff like that, or it's sneaking in or all that nonsense.
You
Yeah.
like ghosts that are up front.
I
You
like
you like a
ghost who
Casper. You like a Casper who
shows
loudly
up.
greets you, and he's like, "Hey, it's me. I'm a
Clearly
ghost, but
in
don't
the
worry."
house, the ghost is very clear about, like, look, I'm stuck here. Here's why. I need you to do this. If you do this, I am out.
He
That's what
lays
I
it all
need.
out for you.
That's what I need from a ghost. Be
A ghost
clear
that
and
bargains.
stop trying to be scary. Let's get to the cause of this problem and let's solve it.
Look, I can haunt you for a few minutes, or it can be reasonable.
Absolutely.
A
That's what I'm
ghost that's good
looking
at
for.
pottery, I think, too, right? That's
Yeah, exactly. If you have a Swayze ghost, oh my God, you're in heaven.
That movie also terrified me, but we can talk
What?
about that later.
The
The
demons,
part
when they
with
come
the yes,
again.
where the bad guy gets
Dragged
removed
away.
into dragged into
But
hell.
you should feel good about that. That's the bad guy getting comeuppance. Like, that's good.
Absolutely,
They are
but
still
it's scary to watch.
If you're a
because then
bad person, then maybe.
But then every time you see a shadow, you have to think about it, like, oh, are there demons in that
They
shadow?
made the noise too.
I better be
It was like,
good.
That movie truly has it all.
It does.
such
I would
a
also
great
point
film.
out that Hollow Man, I didn't see that on a date, but like it was very close to Stir of Echoes. Kevin Bacon. Anyway,
Where he's all rapey and his penis is out there.
yes, invisible rapists. That's not something we need.
No.
That's worse than ghosts.
Oh, I got a line that came out when we saw A Legend of Hell House at a drive-in.
Mm.
And my friend, it was actually the same guy who was a friend of my dad's. He took me to the drive-in and we saw that movie. And there's a part where the sheets pull back on the woman, and the ghost is about to violate her. And my friend said, "Oh, Halloweeny."
Oh, wow. That's quality joke.
I just, oh, I was 13. I laughed my ass off.
Necessary.
Matt, have you taken somebody on a date to a horror film, or has somebody taken you?
Actually, so no, I haven't seen a lot of horror movies in the theater, but I do have a date story with a horror movie. It was more of a renting the horror movie and
Sure.
staying in. We watched the remake of House on Haunted Hill, and
Okay.
yeah, and our relationship didn't last that long anyway. But it was one of those things where like I was skeptical going in because I'm at that time. This was like I guess I would have been like early 20s, and I was kind of bougie when it came to movies. I either liked independent like art house movies or like really cheap direct to video movies. There's nothing in between for me. But I was watching, I was kind of getting into the whole Tay Digg aspect of it. I liked him in Go and all that. Whereas for her, I realized that she was more religious than I was. And so the ghost part of it freaked her out at the end. And so we didn't really connect on it. I will say the other thing is the movie that her favorite movie was Pay It Forward. And she was like, you have to see Pay It Forward. And it goes down as the movie I hate the most ever. I think it's either that one or Finding Forrester. And so it was one of those things like she fell asleep to the end of it. She woke up and she's like, what did you think? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And so it was one of the things that our relationship kind of had fizzled, and then 9/11 happened, and there was that kind of thing of like everybody sort of trying to reconnect kind of thing. And so I think House on Haunted Hill came like a little bit after that, where we were like seeing like we reconnected. Let's have a go of it. And but it was one of those things where I had seen the original, and I thought I'm going to hate the remake, and I think I would have if it didn't have Tay Diggs. I'm kind of a
I love this movie. I think Jeffrey Rush is hilarious.
Jeffrey Rush too.
There's a lot of good stuff in that one.
Oh, I love the ending is absolutely atrocious, but you can't judge a horror movie by its ending.
Right. Well, also we had the Lisa Loeb cameo, which
Yes.
just early 90s alternative. It never gets that
Peter Gallagher's eyebrows. Like there's plenty of things going on.
I love that movie. I think that one and 13 Ghosts, like they're remakes that are great because they don't insult the original and they take what the original did and they kick it up a notch.
Yeah. And I thought going into it again with my kind of my bougie sensibilities as an early 20 something who's more serious than he should have been. I was like, there's no way I'm going to like the remake. There's no way. And so I really had to work uphill to get me to enjoy it. So yeah, the other one, so I have never really been on a date with my wife to watch a movie. I think the only time we ever went to a movie together. So kind of like Jeanette and Lisa, I go to movies by myself a lot because, my wife's just not interested in, a Marvel movie or Expendables 4 or whatever it is I'm going to go see. So
Expendables.
Right, Expendables, exactly. Right, yeah, exactly. So we went and saw the Riff Tracks live show for Sharknado 2. I don't know if that counts.
Of course it counts.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it was with a group. It was like two other couples. So my friend from college lives down here, and his wife at the time, and then another friend was visiting. So it was like, I guess a triple date. But yeah, that's the one time. And that movie theater we went to, this was in 2014. It's University City here in Philadelphia. I remember going to that at the time, being from Maine, and going to movies in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where we didn't have the most sophisticated stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is a really great place to see a movie. I went there again early this year to see Thunderbolts. I hadn't been in forever, and the place hadn't changed in 10 years, which isn't a good thing. It was in bad shape now. So I was like, boy, yeah, this is in pretty rough shape here. I don't even know if I should be sitting in these chairs. I don't know what's going to happen to me here. So yeah, but those are my two that I can think of.
Those are solid. We can live with those.
Yeah, you chose the best Sharknado movie, so I mean, we can get that.
And Pay It Forward will now count as a horror film for you.
That's always been true to begin with.
That's a horrifying adaptation because that book wasn't terrible.
I'm
but
sure it's
good
not.
Grief, that movie.
That movie is awful.
Well, they changed the ending and they changed the lead character. The main character is black. I'm like, what? Denzel wasn't available? We had to put Kevin Spacey in this? Come on.
He must have looked at the script and been like, no.
Trash. The ending was trash. But
well, that's what I thought. That's what I said to her. I was like, the ending was horrible. Like I was like, why did they? I don't know if I should be spoiling it for anybody, but I was like,
I don't think anybody's worried.
Yeah, I was like, why did you kill the kid? Like, why would you do that? Like, what's the whole?
Well,
point?
no, that's authentic. How
that happens in the book
killed is different. Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's killed outside. What's the ending of the movie? Is it a school shooting?
I think he gets stabbed. I think.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Right.
He gets killed in the book too, but it's outside
Oh,
like a
okay.
nightclub or something.
At least he paid it
And it's
forward.
more of an accident. Like he's not targeted. It's like a weird, random kind of thing. But I remember that because like Runaway Jury, they changed the ending and they made it like a school shooting or a school situation kind of thing. And I'm like, these are not what these books are. Just because Columbine has recently happened, not everything needs to be a school shooting. I just remember being very annoyed.
Let me read you. This is perfect. This is on Wikipedia for Paid Forward. The role was offered to Denzel Washington, but he turned it down to do Remember the Titans.
And
Kevin
away we go.
Spacey was contacted next.
Well, I guess I was right all these
That would
years.
all
Because
make
if
sense.
there's only two black guys in Hollywood, Denzel
That's
Washington
only two, yeah,
and Kevin
for Christ's
Spacey.
And Kevin friggin' Spacey. I just remember, like, I'm like, why are we doing this? What is the purpose here?
At that time, they couldn't reach out to Wesley Snipes. I feel like
I
at
guess
that
not.
time,
Well,
Right.
Or Will Smith was the biggest person in the world in 1999. He's
Right?
just add that to the list of things Kevin Spacey movies would like to replace Kevin Spacey with.
oh,
Yeah,
God.
because at that time, would they have thought Will Smith wouldn't do something serious like that? Is that like he was
That's probably
comedy?
more the case. He
Was
doing-
that
Right,
before
yeah,
Michael
not an
Bay
action
changed
film.
Will Smith's
He was-
life?
He was doing the blog. No, 99 is in between Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. This is Wild Wild West.
After
era.
Michael
Yeah,
Bay
this is
changed
Wild
his life.
Wild West era. He's
Yeah,
right.
he's
Right.
the biggest movie star in the world.
Yeah, and so they must have looked at them and been like, well, you know, or maybe they thought they couldn't afford him, but if they
They went
hired
with
him
Denzel.
over
Like,
Denzel,
yeah,
right,
Denzel's not
exactly.
cheap.
Right, exactly. No, that's a good
You're
point.
like,
So,
is
yeah.
Morgan Freeman too old? Like, what's that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's up
Right.
against Helen Hunt, so I don't know how you match that up. But
Well,
There's
is
Lawrence
Samuel
Fishburne
Jackson
when you need him.
Samuel L.
Sam
Jackson, like,
yeah.
I mean, he
another-
did
yeah,
like
yeah,
5
but
movies
these-
a year. He couldn't squeeze that in.
I don't know if those two guys would be good for this role.
I feel
Yeah.
like
It's
I'm
like a
ready for a
sweet
remake of
kinda-
this. Let's put this one in the remake machine.
he was filming
Oh.
Deep Blue Sea. So
There you go.
Well,
Much
Tay
better
Diggs,
off.
right? I mean, Tay Diggs wouldn't have been old enough, but yeah, do a
Tay
remake
Diggs.
now with Tay Diggs. I think that
I
would
mean,
be perfect.
Stella.
I love
Stella
that we
got
have a
her groove back with
sidetrack
Tay Diggs.
conversation on recasting a movie that doesn't have anything to do with our topic today. Everybody's enthusiastic about it. That's good.
We're
That's
gonna
good.
fix Pay It Forward right now on this podcast.
I do like
Oh.
that the answer is just Tay Diggs.
Yes.
Well, the last question that I had for people, and everybody has been invited to bring a question to the discussion, so we'll find out what they did come up with in a minute. The last one I asked is if there's a recent horror Halloween type film that you can recommend to people. And Jeanette, I know that this is going to be tough for you, but I thought I'd start with you here because sooner or later
well-
you're going to have something that's going to fit.
I want to take the word Halloween out of the question. And most recent horror film you can. Honestly, I feel like Sinners is the answer. Sinners was
No, that works.
such a good movie, and I think even if you went in having some kind of idea, it still stretched the boundaries on a lot of different options. And you can read into it what you want, and you can dive into the symbolism, and you can cover a lot of. You can want a backstory about the Choctaw in the beginning because man, they were cool. There's a lot there. It holds up with repeated watchings. It's a powerhouse performance from Michael B. Jordan, and my goodness, so much more oral sex than you thought you were going to get. So there you go. That's my recommendation.
Good way to wrap that review up, by the way.
You save the good stuff. for
That'll
last.
get a few extras.
It's like sure, cinematography and the score, that's good too. But the oral
I mean,
sex
that's-
in that
But
movie.
the oral sex,
There's
you know,
so
that's
much
it.
of it.
This
the
movie.
saliva exchanges between Haley Steinfeld in that movie.
Oh my God, I can't with that. That makes me nauseous. It was so upsetting. No one needed that.
It's the grossest thing in that movie.
It really is.
I'm going to have to look at
really
the
is.
trivia on IMDb for this just to see.
This movie, if this thing doesn't get recognized at the Oscars, I mean, good grief.
One hopes.
I mean, so many things like that sequence when I forgot his name because I haven't watched it recently, but the nephew when he sings
The music,
that-
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
the music
God, that
sequence.
sequence
It's
is
phenomenal.
the most beautiful thing I've seen in film in I can't tell you how long. Like
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
had tears coming down my face in the theater. It was absolutely incredible. The
Yep.
best damn thing I've seen on screen. Like give Coogler all the awards for this.
Yep.
That
And
too.
to include a scene that gorgeous and that touching and that beautiful in a movie that is essentially at its core a vampire movie, it's phenomenal.
It's so. I keep harassing people. I'm like, why have you not seen this yet? Now it's coming back to IMAX. Go see it.
Yeah, this coming week it's going to be an IMAX for another week.
Oh,
And
Well,
people should go
Jeanette,
see
you
it.
may have stepped on a whole bunch of other people's recommendation. Let's see if
Sorry.
that's the case.
I was looking for the most recent because I
No,
also
that
want to say that
works.
like I stumbled across Cabin in the Woods showed up on TV, and while that's not
yes.
recent, I feel like some people kind of slept on Cabin in the Woods, and I love again this is one that has like a comedy horror comedy vibes. If you haven't seen Cabin in the Woods or you haven't seen it in a long time and you are a pure horror fan, I think of that it is a movie made by people who love horror movies and it has a lot of that kind of stuff in it, but still treats it in a fun way. So side recommend. Sinners is the answer. Side recommend Cabin in the Woods.
Absolutely.
I I'm not going to go there. Never mind.
Oh, don't you dare, Richard. Oh, don't. You'll make me sad.
It's
All
okay.
right.
The world likes it more than him. It's fine.
That's true. That's true.
No, no,
Thank you,
I was
Aaron.
just gonna now I have to defend because I wasn't gonna dump on those
He's going to
movies.
come out the fact that I don't like comedy and
There
horror
you
movies.
go. There you
Okay.
go.
So
Oh,
the
see that
reason,
I find it palatable. That's how I can tolerate my horror
well,
is
see,
if you throw comedy in there. That opening sequence with Bradley Whitford and Richard Schiff. Come on.
Yes,
Brilliant.
there you go.
Richard Jenkins.
That's it.
It's
Thank you. Wrong, wrong Richard.
Wrong, Richard.
wrong, Richard. Different. Bradley Whitford show. Richard. The difference here is because the comedy is smart. It's
Ah,
not stupid.
yeah.
I mean, I would say
It's referential.
I would
My
say
thing,
I would
and
say Evil Dead 2 is like is intellectual
no, I never
comedy, but
said
it's
that was.
fucking hilarious.
But see, the thing is, like Richard can't get past. I don't like comedy horror. I'll take horror movies that have some comedy.
For
But I
400,
also have.
Alex.
I've always said that my tastes don't make sense when it comes to comedy. So I've always said that up front. So there's never any rationale. But I do love Cabin in the Woods. I find it so brilliant, and I was desperate for a pause button so I could look at all the
Yeah,
different
the
little
boxes.
Yeah, I
the
got to see all
boxes.
the
Oh,
options. What are all the options?
And
incredible.
the lead up to the merman. That whole train of thought throughout the movie and the payoff at the end, like that's how you
Such a
do it.
payoff.
He had the
That's how you
conch in
do
his
it.
hands. He almost
I
peaked.
love Bradley Whitford too, though. So I mean that helped it along.
Aaron, who do you love? And are they in a horror film that you could recommend to us that's out recently?
So so you phrase this question as recent Halloween horror film
Yeah,
you
I
could
didn't
recommend.
necessarily mean it had to be at Halloween time, just something that people might watch at Halloween time,
Well, no,
because they're looking for a
well,
scary movie.
because I took the question fairly seriously as far as like how literal can I be with this the way that I'd appreciate. Like if you want to talk about just like a recent scary movie that I watched that is effective, Weapons. Weapons is I think it's unnerving
Mm.
in the right kind of ways. It's well constructed. It builds off what Zach Cregger did quite well with Barbarian as far as just being movies that are original, have different kind of sway to them as far as what you're expecting versus what you get. It does the job. It's very good. It was a hit. I'm not alone in thinking this way. Like it does
Definitely
quite well.
not. Brilliant.
As far as like a Halloween horror movie, I'm a fan of the VHS series, the anthology series, and this year's entry VHS Halloween I thought was pretty good. I think it was in the upper tier of the VHS movies. I
It's
think
super fun. I agree.
the various segments I think with it's not even saying like one exception or like exceptions. I think they all have their own strengths. I just think they're like three that like really stand out to me. But if you like that anthology series, especially in how far it goes and its disgustingness, like it does the job. And even like the wraparound segments, which are usually my least favorite parts of the VHS movies, I think is pretty effective this time around. It's got a macabre sense of humor to it that really works for me, and it's of course just really bloody. So like yeah, Weapons VHS Halloween that's on Shudder now. Weapons is just now on HBO Max, so that's easy to watch as well. Um, I'll also recommend a couple more. Queens of the Dead. This is Tina
Oh
Romero, George A.
yes,
Romero's daughter.
I can't
Um,
get it. Where the hell is it?
it's
I
playing in
wanted to
some.
see
It's playing
that.
in. It just came out in some theaters. It's going to be on Shudder, I assume, like a few weeks from now.
Thank
Um,
God.
but it's compared to Romero's Living Dead, his best Living Dead movies, like it's very much a campy exercise in making a zombie film. But I think it's very much in the spirit of her father's movies. Like it does the job of being like it has like the Dawn of the Dead style zombies where they're like all painted kind of blue and whatnot. They move slowly. they're like vicious without being like, aggressive essentially because they're just like dead zombies type of
I
thing.
love a slow zombie. God, I
But
love a slow zombie.
but as opposed to being somewhat self-serious in the way that Night or Dawn or Day is, Queens of the Dead is very much a celebration of the LGBT IA plus community, and so it has a lot of like drag characters, trans characters, gay characters, queer characters. Like it's very much in the way that all of Romero's Living Dead films attack kind of have their own social commentary and social value to them. This one is very much doing the same, just in that realm and in a way that's again more comedic and campy as opposed to its self-seriousness. The
And if
mileage
you
may
watch
vary.
Drag Race, you're going to recognize a couple of
Oh,
girls.
for sure. Yeah, there is
It's
certainly
amazing.
And
it's
isn't
a pretty stacked cast for that
I
area.
can't wait.
is Katie O'Brien?
Yes,
Isn't Katie
she's like
O'Brien
the
in it
lead
too?
in the. She's like basically she's ostensibly the lead in the movie. Like it's an ensemble cast and she's a part of it. It's mileage may vary on how funny you find some of the film, but like I thought it felt like a nice tribute to her father while being its own thing. So I was pretty happy with that.
Lisa, when you see it, you have to tell me.
Oh, I'm going to love it. And here's the other thing. I love Slaughterhouse. Like, if I know I'm going to like it, I'm going to love it. If I think I'm going to hate it, I'm going to hate it. I don't know why. Some things work, some things don't. I love my drag queens. I'm going to love this. I promise you I will.
Slaughterhouse.
I looked at Slaughterhouse and I went, oh my God, get me this. And then my husband sat down and went, what the hell are you watching? And he's laughing. It's just one of those weird things.
The smartest
can't
of
explain
comedies, Slaughterhouse.
Oh, it's so good. I
I've
know
seen
it doesn't make sense.
Just, you go on the spiel about comedy horror, and then you recommend Slaughterhouse. And I'm
I
like,
do.
"What?"
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, Aaron. I know, and I've known this for decades. It's completely ridiculous.
Matt, do you have a DT direct to video or something else that you would recommend us to?
Yeah, so there's a movie came out this year called Brute 1976. So the publicist for the film, he asked if I would watch it. I finally got to recently asked me back in August if I would watch it. I did get to it this past month. It's a little on the long side. It's like an hour and four. It's like hour 45 minutes, so it probably could stand to be maybe like 90 minutes. And the other thing that's interesting about the film is I think if you're older, one of the things is it's supposed to take place in 1976, but it's got all like younger millennial and maybe Gen Z actors, and they speak with like vocal fry and things like that. So it doesn't sound like 1976 when you're watching it. And that was a little bit of a stickler for me. But the director, Marcel Waltz, I say he's a young director. He's born in 1986, so he's going to be 40 next year. So I don't know how young he is necessarily. He's got a bunch of credits to his name. I thought he did a really fantastic job, at least in the look of the film. When I was on the LAMBcast just earlier this year, when we talked about the Nosferatu movie, Robert Egger, where we were talking about the set, the scene composition in that, I think Marcel Waltz and his DP in this movie, they put together some really, really nice scenes. It looks really great. There's some great performances in it as well. I believe it's $4.99 on Amazon, so it is a little expensive. But I think you're looking to support indie horror, and during this Halloween season, this is definitely one to check out.
Do you want to give me just a little bit of the scenario so I have some idea how far I want to get into it?
Yeah, so it's this kind of like the Twisted Family kind of thing, that they're in this like I don't know, remote desert area in the Southwest in 1976, and you start off with this young couple who they get caught by them. So one of the women, she's killed, and then her partner, she survives and is being held there for whatever reason. And then you get this group of kids who are like I don't know, they probably like 20 somethings who are late 20 somethings who are going to shoot like a photo shoot in the same area, and they decide they get this kind of crazy grinchy idea that they're going to investigate this small abandoned town area, and of course they end up getting caught. I will say one of the deaths in the movie is a little bit rough. It involves a drill and a part of the male anatomy, so that was a little bit. Yes, yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. It. So, yes, but yeah. I mean, the other thing
Eureka.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yes, but the other thing too, I think, with the age part of it is that it kind of gave it this interesting feel, like how the '90s there was this like '70s resurgence. So with the actors all being younger, like it was supposed to take place in '76, but it felt almost like people who were doing a 70s resurgence in the 90s were in the movie. I don't know how to explain if that makes sense. Or even like Portlandia, where they talk about the dream of the 90s is alive in Portland. It's almost like kids who were like born in Portland who are just cosplaying the 90s as dressing up in the 70s. I don't know if that makes sense. If you're a little older, you might actually get a kick out of some of those elements of it. But also might be annoying to be like, nobody spoke with vocal fry in 1976. So it doesn't. I don't know, when I'm watching emergency reruns with my wife, I don't remember DeSoto using vocal fry when he's talking, or yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely, I think, checking out. And the director Marcel Waltz, he's got a sequel coming out called Brute 1986. So I think he's trying to do like different ages of horror, and I think that's the part of the reason why he said it 1976 is he wanted it to be like the slasher films of that era, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that kind of thing. I mean, from my mind, the only reason why it was set in 1976 is one of the women, when she's trying to escape, she has a platform shoe accident that causes her ankle to roll over, and it's like you wouldn't have, I guess, it wouldn't make sense to have a platform shoe in 2025. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, I don't know that it needed to be set in 1976, but I get why he did it, because he wanted to kind of evoke that feel.
Well, when you keep saying somebody a little older might like it, yeah, okay. I know who you're talking to.
Yeah, I don't like. Well, I was gonna say, like, I think if you, because like he was born, I looked at, because he was born in 86, and I think for somebody that age, you wouldn't think like, oh, well, nobody in the 70s spoke with vocal fry. Like, it wouldn't make, and it's not like I remember the 70s. Obviously, I was born in 79, but I knew in the 80s nobody spoke with vocal fry either. Like I don't, and I'm not using emergency for my my guide on how people spoke in the 70s, but it's that idea.
All right. Well, I like the idea and the milieu. It sounds interesting. It sounds like I'm going to be investing my $4.99 to see this movie. Okay.
Nice.
Fair enough. Lisa, did you want Slaughterhouse to count as your recommendation here, or did you have something else?
Oh, that'd be good though, right? No, so I have two options. I did like Aaron think, okay, well, I got to do something up to date. I got to do something very recent. But I'm going with, depending on what your Halloween viewing is like, I have two options for you. If you're having a Halloween party and you want something fun that you can just put on in the background, people can walk in and out of and still laugh their asses off at, pardon my French. Can I not say that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good. Until Dawn, the movie adaptation of the PlayStation game, was ridiculous, and it was very entertaining. There are a couple of pass-throughs in certain time frames that will absolutely surprise you and have you laughing yourself silly. There was just something about, it's not a great movie, but it's very entertaining. It's something worth throwing on just to kind of watch. It's on Netflix right now. No deep plot, nothing crazy, but just some of the scenarios are just fun for a light kind of horror film.
It's a time loop movie. It's fun to see a time loop applied.
Yeah.
The genre.
And it's interesting because if you've played the game, you pick up on a number of different little Easter eggs they've left for you. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't really delve into the plot and the playthrough of the game the way you think it might. It's just kind of a fun little standalone chaos that you can watch for about an hour and a half. If you want to watch something that's going to mess with you and make people probably not come back to your house again, watch Bring Her Back. Which is also on HBO. And this thing, I remember now what it's like to watch a horror film as a non-horror person, because I was so anxious through this entire thing. I mean, my joke with this movie is that afterwards I needed a Xanax and a Disney film. You've got, these two kids who were put into foster care, and the daughter, Piper, is basically blind, legally blind. Like, she can see shadows and some light and darkness. And she is in danger the entire time. It does not ever let up. And I liken it to, if you are somebody who struggles to watch a film where an animal is in danger, and like that defenseless animal, like you hate seeing a dog die, you hate seeing a cat die or whatever. That's what this film feels like from beginning to end. The acting in it is absolutely off the charts. The discomfort you feel. I mean, it's even more than just Piper being in danger. There's like a third child that this foster family has, and he also is a whole other category of what on earth is happening. It is a spectacular film by the guys who gave us Talk to Me. Um, Talk to Me is a wonderful film, but there's times when stuff lets up and you can breathe. And with this thing, I sat in the theater and I was just like, uncomfortable, tense the entire time. And it is absolutely remarkable that a film can do that for me through the entire thing, let alone individual little moments. Absolutely off the charts, fantastic film that it's hard to recommend because you can't give this to people, because if you give this to most people, they're never going to speak to you again. But somebody who's looking for, I want something that's going to freak me out and get under my skin, this is going to do it.
I almost mentioned this after I brought up Queens of the Dead, but I'm glad I stopped because it's nice that you're able to talk about it because I do think it's very good as well. I'm a huge fan of the directors. I really love Talk to Me, and I what I like about this is it's a Talk to Me is like it's intense, but it's more of a like I can see that as like a party horror film. I can see a lot of
Absolutely.
people can enjoy that together in a way that's like communal. This one, like I saw it with a big crowd, and people were like they were down with it, but it was certainly like an intense experience to like watch. And they'd have the directors were there, they came up and they're like, "Are you guys okay?" Like it was
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's and you're spot on about the acting. The performances are great in this. Like it's the kind of thing where horror never gets the respect it does when it comes to the kind of work that has to go into not only just the getting the lines right, but the physicality of like
Yes.
putting like Sally Hawkins is one of our best working actresses and she's tremendous in this movie.
Oh,
Like, it's
she's so, and she won't get any recognition for it. I mean, it's
no,
like Marcia Gay Harden in The Mist. It'll
yeah,
just go by and nobody will remember it except
or
nerds like us.
Lapita and Us or Essie Davis and the Babadook. I mean, like there's all these wonderful
Yes,
performances that never get recognized. Many by women, and they never get
exactly.
the recognition. But yeah, though it's Bring Her
It'd
Back
be
is
so nice if the awards movies didn't, or if the awards didn't only recognize air quotes awards movies. If
uh-huh.
they
Right.
included all the genres of movies.
I mean, it would be great. I mean, people like the mainstream recognizes Toni Collette should have gotten something for Hereditary, Lupita Nyong'o definitely
Yep.
for Us,
Yep.
but people don't. If you're non-horror, you're not going to think of Sally Hawkins for this. You're not going to think of Effie Davis for Babadook. You're not going to think of those.
Yeah.
Whereas, my God, like artistic, off the charts, will make you squirm in so many different ways. It's absolutely incredible. And I bought it immediately on 4K. Ask me if I've watched it
Have you
yet.
watched it yet,
Like,
Lisa?
I have not. I am trying to gear up to watch it again because I
And you have
want
to
to
watch it
feel
by
that again.
yourself because you know your husband isn't going to want to watch it.
Oh no, I would never let him near this. He won't be able to handle this. This is I can't recommend this to people because it's like, okay, what are you into? What do you like? And what are you ready for?
Yeah, I'm pretty good about how I recommend movies to people just because it's just a weird mutant ability I have as far as knowing what people like. But this one especially with my friends, they were parents. It's like
Mm.
Oh yeah.
I have to be careful about like how I suggest this to people.
Right. That's really true because I'm not a parent. And so there are times when like people talk to me and they're like, wow, like that made me real uncomfortable. Like, shit, I forgot about that. Oh, sorry. I'm like, oh, I forgot about the parent thing. Like this, I know full on, like, don't go there. Don't go near this one.
Hmm.
Well, I've got two that came out this year that I think everybody can go near, and it probably give you a creepy moment or two, a couple of good horrifying moments, but not the kind that apparently Bring Her Back has in them. One of which we'll be covering on the Lamb cast in a couple of weeks while I'm off. Lisa and I recorded an episode on this, Good Boy, which was in
Oh,
theaters for a brief amount of time, and it's great dog performance. And you can look it up and see if the dog survives the movie. Jeanette,
No,
kind
I'm
of.
not a chance. I'm not going anywhere near that movie. I saw that poster and I was like, I am 100% out. I don't even have to go to doesthedogdie.com. I'm not going to that movie.
But it's quite good, and I enjoyed it very much. And then my favorite film of the year so far, although it's bouncing around, is Dangerous Animals, which is
That was so fun.
it's so fun. I just love that this is like it just hasn't been topped. Dangerous Animals.
no, it's it was right in my alley. And Jai or Jay Courtney, whatever his name is,
Jai.
I've been mocking him for years, saying
You're not
this is a
alone.
guy who, needs to fit in someplace. And I've seen him in one film that he was good in, and everything else, it's just like it's so clear they're trying to make him fit into something, and they finally found something.
What
Yes,
was the one that you
exactly.
So well
saw?
in
Wait,
this.
before, what was the one that you saw that
The
he?
Reacher,
Oh,
the first
interesting.
one.
All right.
Yeah. And everything else, it just seemed like he was just, no, this doesn't work. And
Hollywood
and
does not know what to do with Jai
Well, they
Courtney.
tried they
and
tried to
he
make
and
him
Joel Kinnaman should be in, all the movies together where nobody knows what to do with people, because both of those guys, they're not bad, they just don't fit. But he fit perfectly in this.
I think Kinnaman's had a more successful run, but Courtney, like the problem is with him, they try to make him into generic white lead and like Die Hard and Terminator and whatnot. When he gets to play scuzzy Australian guy,
He's great.
Yes.
He's perfect.
I think Suicide Squad is an abomination. It's a dumpster fire of a movie.
Absolutely, but he's a
the
great
first one,
Captain
but he's
Boomerang.
the best thing in it because he plays
Absolutely.
scuzzy Australian guy. Like it works well for him.
Talk about great typecasting.
He was in the TV show Spartacus. The
Yeah,
first time
Spartacus,
I
where
saw him, I was like, you know what?
Re-
Yeah, this makes sense. And then
real
everywhere
ones
else, they
know.
tried to put him.
Real ones know that he is a good actor because we saw him in Spartacus and he's really good in Spartacus. That's why we're all like, we want this guy to be better.
Well, he was definitely better in Dangerous Animals.
He
and
rocks
I'm
in that movie.
and that's on the cusp of being a horror film. We have
Oh, that one counts. That's
opinions of
horror.
yeah, I think so too. I would put it in that
Yeah.
category because
It's
there's
about sharks
definitely
and serial
horrific.
killers.
Yes,
Yes.
there you go. You got two of them together. So it's the silence of Jaws.
You're
Okay.
with the proper crowd here, Richard. You don't need to worry about what counts as a horror movie. We know.
Well, I also think for this one, usually when I watch a shark movie, I root for the sharks because I'm usually on the side of the animals in a movie like that. But
Yeah.
the fact that there's a serial killer element makes it unique in that. Like, yes, I still
Yes.
would root for the sharks, but the sharks aren't necessarily right. It's not like sharks are attacking people because they're just sharks and people don't like them. It's it's a little different with a serial killer element.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not like the shark's the serial killer. I'd
Right,
watch that movie in a
exactly.
heart. I'd watch that movie in a heartbeat. By the way, if the shark was the serial killer,
Serial
he
killer
left
shark?
clues everywhere he goes.
Like Saturday Night
All
Live, you
over
knock
This
on the
time
door.
it's really personal.
Land shark, right? Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, exactly. Land
Andy
shark's a
Graham.
serial killer. It's
Andy
Chevy
Graham.
Chase.
Oh my God, I would run to that movie. I would run to the Candy Graham movie.
Silence of the Sharks.
All right. Well, we've exhausted the prompts that I came up with, but I asked everybody if they could come up with some of their own prompts for these discussions. So you can tell us as we go along what your question is, what your prompt is, and we'll just answer the best we can spontaneously.
And I do have one now, Richard.
All
I
right.
came
Can we
up with
start
one.
with you? Is that okay?
Oh yeah, sure, if you want.
All right. Well, Lisa, what is your question or prompt that you wanted everybody to respond to?
I would like to know everyone's best or most memorable experience in the theater seeing a horror film. So not necessarily that it scared you, but like a memorable experience that you love telling the story about.
Great question.
Okay.
I can start with mine if you need a minute.
No, let me jump in. Get Out.
Go for it.
When I saw Get Out in the theater, it was a full theater. It was packed, and it was an audience that was ready for it and reactive to it. And it was exactly what that movie was designed for. It was loud. It was fun. It was interactive. It was such a great experience. We're having really because it was right when it was released, and having really no deeper knowledge of what the movie was going to be. Excellent. Super fun. The way horror movies can unite an audience together to experience something, that right there. Also, same vein, the wow, am I going to forget the name of it? The David Harbour Deadly Santa one.
Oh, Violent Night.
Violent Night.
Violent Night, yes.
Going into that and knowing almost nothing about it, but in an absolutely full theater that is all reacting to the same moments at the same time with the same enthusiasm. Excellent experience. That experience takes an average movie to an excellent time. And man, do I love when that works out.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll jump in with mine because I thought of it almost immediately, and that's The Sixth Sense. You could just hear the audience suck their breath in when the reveal comes. Most people didn't get it. It really took until the end of the movie for people to know what the heck was going on. And when it happened, it was like you could just see a collective group of people, their hands going up to their faces like, "Oh my God, this is, oh my, oh, could this possibly be right?" And it was, and the audience reacted beautifully to
Mhm.
that experience.
I love that. I think I probably had a similar experience seeing that there, but I don't remember it. So I love that you get to remember that part.
I saw that for the first time on video, and I wish I had seen it in a theater for that moment.
I mean, I think the build up to other moments in that movie just are just effectively outside. Like with me in The Sixth Sense, what I love about The Sixth Sense is the movie's done before the twist happens. Like the twist is like a cherry on top to just a really good character drama that happens to have ghosts in it. But there's ghost stuff that I think is really effective. Like that kid with like the hole in the back of his head
Yeah.
because he got shot. Like that's
Oh
the stuff I remember
yeah.
the audience
Let
like
me show you where
freaking
my
out
dad's
about.
gun is,
Yeah, like
Oh,
because you're just in it with Cole and like he's seeing all these ghosts around and they're not being upfront like Jeanette wants them.
If they would just be clear, just be honest. I don't have time for you to be haunting. Please tell me what you need.
Well, the little girl with the video does kind of explain herself,
Yeah, once Cole like realizes, okay, maybe I should let me lean in.
Yeah, lean in.
I have one. Um, it's it's more of a series of things, but it kind of clicks together. I saw every Paranormal Activity movie.
yes,
The
this
the
is
the
going to be where I'm going.
this I saw every single one of them with my friend the day they came out at like the midnight or latest showing possible. And
Amazing.
for whatever reason, because not all screenings are like this, some screenings are just too funny or people are just laughing too much or whatnot, but whatever reason, I always had the perfect audience for every single one of these. That's not me
Same.
saying I love every single Paranormal Activity movie. I think there are four of them that are good, and then there's others. But being able to have the experience where it played exactly the right way, where everyone's on the same wavelength and no one's like going overboard or ruining the kind of the shared horror experience for everyone. That made it very special to me that I could watch each of those movies and every time like that bass line hits where you know a ghost is around, so something's going to happen, everyone quiets down and then everyone kind of like has the sigh of relief laughter afterwards during certain scenes. It was great for that like that 7 year period span where we were getting one a year, and I could just enjoy watching these movies the way they were meant to be watched with an audience that wanted to do it the same way.
Absolutely. I've had a number of conversations with students who are like, they're boring. And I'm like, did you watch them at home or in the theater?
Mhm.
Because you lose 50% of the impact of those films if you don't watch them in the theater.
Yep.
Those films are the perfect example of you could cut the tension with a knife. Everybody holds their breath, everybody quiets down, and then whenever that moment has passed, you feel everyone exhale. It's absolutely incredible that every single one, like you, Aaron, I saw them all in the theater. Whatever these reboots are going to be, I'll see those too. To get that experience nowadays is rare. And I saw Paranormal Activity. I actually drove 2 hours away to see it because they had released it so gradually, that first film. I couldn't wait anymore to get it in Rhode Island. So I drove into Massachusetts to see it. And I went to one of the fancy schmancy theaters at the time with the bring you food at your seat, and you have the fancy seats you
Ooh.
pay extra for in the balcony, the whole thing. And it was one of those experiences where when you hear someone speak and you can kind of picture what this person looks like, the moment when Katie is standing next to the bed, staring at Mika as he sleeps, and it's just going, and time is going, and time is going. And this voice comes out of the darkness, "Oh, hell no!" And you just picture this guy who played football at some point in his life, and it broke everybody up because it was like everybody was tense, everybody's going, "Oh my god, look at the time, oh my god." And like people leaving, guys telling their girlfriends, "You're sleeping on the couch tonight." Like it was just such an amazing experience, just like Aaron said. Yeah, right there with you, Aaron. Good call.
All right.
Matt,
I
did you
think
have one?
Yeah, so mine was again going back to Scream. I remember seeing that in the theater with, and nobody expected what was going to happen because if you remember the commercials with Drew Barrymore in them, it
I
was just like
do.
she was yeah, it was like she was one of the gang, right? It was just, her and
Hmm.
Nev Campbell and all of them. And so for her to get killed in that opening sequence, which I hope I'm not giving it away for anybody who hasn't never seen Scream before,
I
but
think we're good by now.
right, yeah, it's been almost 30 years. Yeah. So, but I remember like the whole theater was just tense because nobody expected that to happen. And I can only remember a few times just seeing a movie in general where that. I mean, I saw Lawrence of Arabia recently, and it was like there were moments in that movie where like I could.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I could hear my friend crunching on his popcorn and nothing else. Everything else was silent in the theater. But that one was there. I can remember that where, yeah, just the whole theater, nobody thought that was going to happen. And when it does, and I don't think the rest of the movie lives up to that opening scene. I don't think it was almost like the rest of the movie was almost like we kind of relaxed and we kind of eased into the rest of the movie from there. But yeah, that was my moment.
Yeah, and you and I are the same age. I was born in 79 and I saw that movie in the theater 6 times because everybody would come up to me and be like, nobody will go see this with me. Will you come with me? Yup. And I had a moment where when Sydney is at home, the phone rings and the sound cut out in the theater.
Oh,
And everybody went nuts. And I'm turning around telling people in the theater, no, 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 it's okay. Tatum is running late and she's going to stop by the video store and this is what's going on. It's like me because I'd seen it so many times, could tell people and get them to relax. So the sound came back on in time. But yeah, good call.
Wow.
All
Yeah.
right, that's my question.
all right. Aaron, did you come up with a question? I know you came up with a question because you were passing off extras
I didn't
to
realize
other
all of
people.
us. I didn't realize all of us were going to answer the same question, so that's cool. I like this more. My question was, what's the first horror movie that you saw in a theater?
Ah,
Which I find different from just being scared by a horror movie in a theater.
right.
The idea is what's the very first horror movie that you saw in a theater? I have mine. If you go,
I mean, I guess I have to go back to Interview with the Vampire for mine because
yeah,
that's
you
the
said
first
that.
rated
Yeah.
R movie I saw.
Mm.
I'm trying to think if there was another one before then. I remember sneaking in to see Alien 3, if
Hmm.
that counts. It's
I
the
did.
like one of two movies I snuck into in my life.
That's a
Alien
really,
3.
yeah, that's a tough question because what constitutes a horror movie.
I
Would you
could give.
count Godzilla movies as horror movies?
I mean, yes, they're monster movies.
All right, then Godzilla versus King Kong would have been mine.
Okay.
I saw The Faculty. Does that count?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a horror movie. It's about Lisa's favorite thing: alien slug things crawling into people's mouths and turning them into pod people.
Yeah, I think Scream might have been my first one as well that I saw in the theater. Now that I'm looking back on it, I because that was 96,
Yeah.
and I can't think of another one before that. Because like the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Friday the 13th, I don't think I saw those in the theater. I except for and Jason Takes Manhattan, but I don't think I did. I don't one of those deals where like your parents signed you in because our
Yeah.
parents didn't really care. But I think it might have been Scream. I think all those other ones were all VHS after the fact.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah,
I saw
Well,
was New Nightmare also 94?
that's 94. Yeah,
Yeah. I saw them both the same year. So that was probably like whichever one released first.
I
What
think
must
New
have been
Nightmare
it.
was like summary. Where I know Interview was like a Thanksgiving movie, so
Oh, okay. So somehow I got in to see New Nightmare then.
New
Maybe
I
that was
do
my
want
first
Nightmare.
rated R.
I want to give an addendum to mine because Godzilla versus King Kong is a horror movie and it didn't scare me. It was fun. But I saw another movie when I was even younger that did scare me, but it wasn't a horror film.
Well, what
And
is it?
It,
that's
hold
the
on, we
time
might be getting to that in my question.
the Time Machine with Rod Taylor because those Morlocks freaked me out when I
Yeah,
saw them, and
I've
I was
heard that.
5 at the time.
I've heard that before. The Morlocks scared people when they were younger. They got a
Yeah.
real ET vibe from them, I suppose. Um, I
Never gonna live it down.
like if we're talking like I know what like so I'm like the 90s is when I'm like seeing certain things for the first time in theaters. And like A Nightmare Before Christmas isn't like a horror movie, but like or neither is like Casper. So that's like that doesn't really count. I think the first like straight on horror movie that I saw in a theater was I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh,
Which,
all right, yeah.
which I'm not even a big fan of. And Anaconda. That was the same year. Anaconda's first because that's April.
Snakes out there this big.
Jeanette, have you
The best
seen my
line delivery of any
Jeanette,
line.
have you seen my Facebook today?
Oh no.
I was that yesterday for a Halloween party.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my God,
right.
amazing.
I did see that.
So yeah, those are the first ones I definitely saw in theaters.
Jeanette, you said you had something?
No, that was unless we're ready for my question, but that was
Oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'm going. I'm
I feel like I
pretty sure.
missed somebody.
Oh,
Lisa
Matt
had
went.
Interview with a Vampire, and Aaron, I
Matt
know what
went.
you did last summer,
Matt
and
said
Matt had
Scream.
Scream.
Yeah, I said the faculty. I think
Oh,
Blade.
the faculty.
If you
That's
count, if you count Blade, I saw Blade a bunch of times in the theater, right around the
Sure.
same time.
It's a bloody vampire movie.
Yeah.
it. Matt, did you have a question or a prompt for us?
Yeah, so I went on a different track with this question. My question was more, and I actually don't have an answer for my question, so it's part of the reason why I'm asking it. Actually, so let's say you have a friend or you know someone who makes horror movies, and they're giving you a chance to be in it for one scene, and you get killed. How do you want to get killed?
Well,
Ooh.
Lisa wants to be covered in bugs, obviously.
Oh, clearly. Just put me in a coffin full of snakes and then put the bugs in there to fill the rest of the gaps.
You know what I've always enjoyed is in a zombie movie, again, slow zombies only, please. I don't care for fast zombies. But the slow overtaking of a pile of zombies and just a single arm reaching out towards someone who is either leaving you behind or you have sacrificed yourself to save. As the all you can see left of you is the arm reaching out as the pile of zombies covers over you. I think that would be really fun because you'd be surrounded by a bunch of, zombie extras all in great makeup and you could just slowly dissolve into a pile of zombies. I think that would be entertaining. I would enjoy that.
The most
Not
frightening.
too gruesome. All the gruesome stuff would be, you wouldn't see it because I'd be under the pile of zombies.
Yeah. The most frightening thing for me that would probably be the kind of thing that I would want to be in a horror film being killed by is being buried alive.
Ew, no.
I get a little claustrophobic on an airplane. I can't imagine, being in a box and hearing the sound of the dirt coming down on top of you and then just being left. This is, what's that movie that they remade with Jeff Bridges, and I can't remember the name of it.
The Vanishing.
That's it. Jesus.
Yeah.
Isn't that the Kiefer Sutherland version of that one?
That's with both of them, right?
Yeah. Jeff Bridges and Kiefer Sutherland, and was it Sandra Bullock who was in that? The remake.
I think she's in the remake, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the movie Buried that with Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. There's a
that
VHS
was written by a guy who went to the high school I teach at.
There you go.
Oh.
Yep.
There's a VHS segment that deals with that also, where the sorority buries one, and there's something else in the coffin with her, and it's great. Fun times. Eaten by a giant monster. Easily. That's
easily,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, no question.
That would also be super fun.
Cherry Pez.
Yeah, I feel like that would be entertaining. I'm sorry, Matt. The question again was how would we like to be, or how do we think we would be?
No, how would you like? Yeah, like how would you? Yeah, because my thought was that I would have Jason behead me, but then I was thinking if it was a friend making the movie, they'd be upset that they had to create like a plaster version of my head to roll on the floor. So I don't know.
That's their problem, man.
Right,
but then
exactly.
Keep that, take it around with you. To the Met Gala.
Don't think about the inconvenience of others. Like this,
right? No, exactly. I'm overthinking it. Exactly. Yes.
I mean, the problem for me is like I tell my students all the time that I will be the reason they survive the zombie apocalypse because I'm the first one to go. I'm not going to run. I cannot run. I will not be fast. So it's just you guys will live because I can't get anywhere. I feel like what comes to mind immediately is Kelly Rowland's in Freddy versus Jason when she's just backing up and like mouthing off at Freddy. I feel like that would probably be my most likely option. It's like me mouthing off, making some sort of ridiculous comment to whatever or whomever the killer is, and then they just get sick of me. They swing the weapon, whatever it is, and chop me in half or something. That's and I'm probably lying there still saying stupid things as they go.
And Jeanette, did you come up with something as well?
Yeah, my question is
slow zombie pile. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the answer.
No. Slow zombie pile. My question was thinking about this, and it kind of ties into some of the things we've been talking about. Do you have a scene or a moment in a movie that terrified you that is not a horror movie by any stretch of the imagination?
Oh, I got one.
Couldn't be called horror, is not anywhere near. And I think that any default to kids movies in the 80s, there's a lot of options. I feel like Return to Oz had that Mandela effect for a long time with a lot of people of like, did I see that? Did I not see it? Were there moving pillars that terrified me? I can't remember. I'm never going to watch it again, but it feels like that was there. The Dark Crystal, the moment when, really anything with the Skeksis, but also when the crabs are collecting the little people and then the beam that's sucking the life out of, so what like specific scene scared you in a not horror movie?
Can I
Yep.
jump in immediately because
Go
I
for it,
know
Richard.
exactly what it is. Oh, and it's from my favorite film franchise. I'm a huge James Bond fan, and in Thunderball, at the beginning, when the fake pilot takes the plane down, they landed in the water, and he's already kind of betrayed Spectre by asking for more money, and his seatbelt is stuck.
Oh,
And Largo just cuts his air hose and leaves him there as and I'm going, I saw that. I've had that nightmare for 50 years.
mm-hmm.
That's not a horror film at all, but that's the most horrifying thing. I just thought, I'm trapped sitting in this plane and I'm drowning and I'm going to drown and people are going to watch me drown. And it's just awful, 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 awful. That terrified me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've talked about mine before, but mine is in second grade when my friends were obsessed with River Phoenix. Stand By Me, the pie eating contest.
Yeah.
I remember vividly sitting on the stairs, like behind the TV, because they were watching it again, and blocking my ears and shutting my eyes so I didn't have to hear it, because hearing the sounds of it, the look of it, the whole thing absolutely horrified me. When they have those like trivia questions, what horror movie traumatized you as a kid? That's my answer. Stand By Me in the pie eating contest.
We every year on my podcast Out and Out There, we do a series of horror themed bonus episodes, and back in 2019 we did a whole episode on horror scenes and non-horror movies. So we have a good array of scenes that we talked about for this very topic. I know one that comes up a lot for a lot of people is Willy Wonka, the big the scene in
the tunnel
on the boat.
Yeah.
That one for sure. There's a lot that because I love this a lot. This concept of just like non-horror movies that have like terrifying scenes in them. I think the Train Spotting Baby is pretty much one that stands out for me all the time. When Mark is going through his withdrawals and he has this vision of the dead baby essentially, and then it's like crawling on the ceiling and it turns its whole head around. That's nuts. It's a little nutso sequence that I quite enjoy quite a bit.
In a movie full of nut scenes, that scene is yes.
And what I really want to point out, just because if you want to talk about audience tension at its finest, Pulp Fiction, when he is about to stab the adrenaline shot into Uma Thurman, that talk about cutting the tension with a knife, and that like if you watch that in the right setting and everyone is just like on the tip of their toes being like, what the fuck is going to happen next, that is a perfect scene for that example.
That is a good example. Does Annihilation count as a horror film here?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
It has Murder Bear.
That's just it, right? Like that scene is the greatest horror sequence in like decades. That one sequence. So absolutely.
But that's a horror. But
I think of it as sci-fi with a horror scene, but I'm with you.
Yeah, no, there's for mine, I don't know if this one counts as a horror movie too. To Catch a Killer, the miniseries with Brian Dennehy playing John Wayne Gacy. Because
that's more like
that's the frightening thing. I mean, especially the clown scene where he's dressed like the clown. But the whole thing, the whole movie. I think it's again why, for me, I don't have this like fascination with serial killers. They just frighten me, and I don't, I know also I saw Brian Dennehy on Donahue after the fact, and he said that John Wayne Gacy was not happy with him for his portrayal of him. So I think that's a good
Bullshit.
sign.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's not good at all.
Right.
Better write some strongly worded letters out of that one.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, to this day, that's the scariest thing I think I've ever seen. It's serious, like, dramatic thing is his portrayal of John Wayne Gacy. He nails it. Yeah. So, and I guess, yeah, the clown scene is the big one for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Jeanette, did you have an answer to your own question, or you were talking about the Return to Oz being your example?
Return to Oz, I think, is one that is.
Well, E.T. clearly.
I've had the E.T.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that'll do it as well. Yep, for sure. This is a very odd, but Minority Report. There's one scene in Minority Report that feels like it's out of a different movie, and the eye scene.
Yep.
Lisa's favorite scene, I assume, with the big spider bugs.
I don't remember it. I'm sitting here trying to remember. I saw that. I didn't like that movie, so I think I've only seen it maybe once or twice. I don't remember what we're talking about.
It's a big sci-fi action movie.
I know what it is. I just don't remember the scene.
By the way, if you
that feels like it's out of a horror movie, and it's where he has to get his eyes replaced or some nonsense.
Yes.
He has to get a eye replacement so he can get scanned in properly, and he has to
retina scan kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But he has to like be blindfolded for a period of time. But then the house that he's in gets raided, and in order to check that everyone's, it's basically like ICE is coming in and trying to check everybody.
They have to do a retinal scan,
and so they have to do a retinal scan. So Tom Cruise has to he attempts to be a non-presence by going into an ice bathtub, so they can't find him. These little spider bugs that are crawling all over the place, checking everyone for the retinal scans, until they finally find him, and they pull up the bandage on his face and shine this light in his eye, and it's these weird little spider robot bugs. So it's like, oh, this is
the little spider bugs didn't bother me. I remember those for some reason. Like spiders, it depends on how many of them there were, I guess. Okay. But I guess if they're like little, I don't make sense, Aaron. I'm sorry.
What about I don't know, Lost in Space? A lot of spiders in that movie. Is that but they're alien spiders? Is that okay?
The other thing I think is another kind of example along those same lines. In Gattaca, there's a moment where you realize he has to get his legs extended.
Yep. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a real thing now.
Yeah.
Have you seen Materialists?
Yeah. Oh no. I'm 5'7" and I'm plenty happy to be 5'7". I do not need I don't need to be 5'10" or anything and it works flying on a plane. I think there's benefits to being 5'7".
Yes.
So
there are benefits to not being 5'10" on a plane. I don't know what those are.
Theaters, by the way.
Yes, in movie theaters too.
Lisa, how are you with Oogie Boogie, by the way? How does that character work for you?
Oogie Boogie in Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah, the Oogie Boogie Man.
No, that's not real. That doesn't bother me.
That's not real.
No, but I mean, it's a cartoon. That doesn't.
Okay, all right.
I don't make sense, Aaron. No, but it's
I'm just trying to get a gauge. I just want to understand.
There isn't one. The things that happen in my brain, I need to be studied for science because there's no logic whatsoever. No, cartoon ones don't bother me or anything.
Fair, got it.
It's just, the cartoon I'm okay with.
I have the same thing with eyes, actually. With Jeanette mentioned that one about Minority Report. I went and saw See No Evil with my friends, and I looked away the whole time. And I found out that the whole thing was goofy, but it's people do things with eyes. L'Age d'Or, I can't do that movie. So, yeah, Minority Report did that for me. It's the same thing with you with the bugs, Lisa. That's eyeballs for me. Is that
Final Destination and the LASIK eye surgery?
Have you guys watched the Illustrated podcast? Because one of my titles at the beginning is the payoff on the Minority Report. With the eyeballs bouncing down the hall.
Oh yeah. So I don't mind them bouncing down the hall when they're by themselves, but it's in the person's head eyes.
Somebody coming at your eyes, I guess.
So you're not a fan then on Alien Earth, the T-Oculus, who may or may not be the actual hero of the story?
Right. Yeah. It's just none of. Yeah. It's it's whenever I watch a movie, there's a whole torture thing, I'm going to put it's and I know they're probably not going to do it, but it's that's too much for me. Yeah.
Well, I've got to say, that movies don't create psychos, but movies make psychos more creative, and you guys have been pretty damn creative today. I appreciate all of the examples that you came up with for these extended questions. They're great. We're going to take a quick break here to hear from a fellow Lamb Podcasting Network show, and then we'll be back with our exit question of the week. And let me ask you, do you like Huey Lewis in the News?
Why This Film podcast looks back at the movies of your childhood. Join me, Emily Slade, each week as I step back in time to revisit the films that you grew up with. Maybe you haven't seen it for a while. Maybe you watched it every day since you were 8. Maybe you totally forgot it existed. Whatever the movie, I'm here to go back with you through nostalgia untold and memories unnumbered. Together we'll ask, why this film?
Well, we've been having a lot of fun here talking about horror movies and things that scared us in our past, a lot of personal history here. And speaking of personal history and nostalgia, the exit question this week is based on that very idea. I'm simply asking people, what's been your favorite Halloween costume that you yourself wore? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a horror image, although I know some of you that will definitely be in that category. But if you have a costume that you wore at Halloween time that you particularly remember, let's hear about it. Let's learn more about our guests. Jeanette, let's start with you. You've got to have something that you dressed up as that you just love to share with people.
I don't have any pictures of any. I feel like there was definitely a Princess Leia costume. I know I had a Godzilla costume one year that I loved.
Aaron is so bummed.
I know. I don't have pictures of those, but yeah, I don't have a hard answer to this, but I definitely always enjoyed the Princess Leia costume. It was the little white dress with the hair buns, which I can do with my own hair. So that one for sure, probably my favorite.
What was the Godzilla one like?
It felt like coat with little spines down the back.
Nice.
Warm, because Halloween in Wisconsin, at least when I was young, you had to dress warm.
Yeah, I understand that. Lisa, have you got a Halloween costume that you wore that you like to share with us?
I was a refrigerator.
I love
A
that.
I went as a refrigerator, and I had the door that worked, and inside it wasn't super good. It was like a big giant box, and it was like a cardboard door, and inside I had drawn the shelves and everything like that. So I was pretty darn proud of that one. But for Spirit Week in school, I have done a couple of really impressive things. I have been the saw puppet twice, complete with my little micro radio that I had taped things from the movie. And I went as a not entirely accurate Darth Maul, because I didn't have the horns and I didn't have the right lightsaber. But I did do a pretty darn good job with the face makeup. So that was kind of fun. And a friend of mine had come as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we had lightsaber battles in the cafeteria during lunch.
Tell me you're sending me pictures.
There's the picture in the chat.
Okay, good deal. I'm glad. Matt, how about you?
Yeah, so in 2000, I went as Al Gore. I found the mask, and then I kind of did the whole outfit.
Terrifying.
Truly frightening.
Right. And I just walked around, and it was kind of like this joke, ask Matt, he'll tell you about the lockbox and all that stuff. And I was like, we're putting in security in the lockbox, the whole thing. And then I tried to recapture the magic in '08. I went as John McCain, talking about being a straight talking maverick and all that. Actually, one of my friend's wife went as Sarah Palin. But yeah, it wasn't the same like you were in college doing the Al Gore one there. So, but yeah, the one I always wanted to do was I remember Mystery Science Theater 3000 talked about cheap Halloween costumes, and there was the one where you put a pie tin around your neck and then cover your face in tinfoil and you go as Jiffy Pop. And so I don't even know how many people would get
so
Jiffy
good.
Pop. Yes, I've always wanted to do that. I just never managed to do it.
I'm going to have to look for an image of somebody who did do that because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes.
Jiffy Pop popcorn. Good deal. Aaron, I know that you doll yourself up all the time, so you've got to have a dozen of these. Can you pick one or two?
Oh yeah, I love Halloween, dressing up for Halloween. Let's see, last year I did Yaphet Kotto and Alien, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
Let's see, I was Miles Morales one year. I was Mr. Fox or Mr. Wolf and the Bad Guys. I was Peter Lorre and M one year, which was pretty solid.
Did you have the chalk M on the back shoulder?
I mean, how else would you do it?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, yeah. Well, I just found some cool. I found some old pictures too I can send you. Because I had like a even before I saw it, I had a Jason Goes to Hell costume when I was a kid for some reason. Like I think I probably just looked like my hockey mask. I was like, cool, that's fun. Um, but the story I'll tell as far as this goes in college, this is 2006. I want to say, yeah, because that's the year it came out. My roommate and a friend of ours, we built a giant plane in honor of Snakes on a Plane. We for weeks were hoarding cardboard and PVC pipes and putting together this giant plane in our living room, so that the three of us could wear this thing so I went to UC Santa Barbara. In UC Santa Barbara, there's a small town called Isla Vista that's next to the campus. Isla Vista is where all the parties happen and everything. And there's a street in Isla Vista called Del Playa, or otherwise known as DP. And often on the weekends, especially Halloween, people just kind of walk up and down DP to go to the different houses or whatnot, to go to parties or just hang out outside. And so what we did was we built this giant plane out of cardboard and PVC pipes, and we spray painted snakes all over it and had snakes on us. And the three of us, wore this giant plane thing that we built and marched up and down to Playa. It was like this. It had wings, and it was just
This
a
is
giant thing.
outstanding. I
And
love
we're
this.
yelling, "Snakes on! Watch out! There's snakes on a plane!" As we're going down the street on this thing.
Amazing.
That's fantastic.
It was so many weeks devoted to this just for like this, one night. Like,
Oh, that's worth it though.
You weren't
But
just the
literally-
Samuel Jackson character following the plane around saying,
No,
I'm
we
sick
were-
and tired of these mother.
No, we had in like the cockpit, we had pictures of Sam Jackson and Keenan, because he's in the movie too.
And Keenan.
They're piloting the plane, so they're like our pilots. But just the main thing was our living room was just felt like we couldn't like access the room for like so long because there was this giant like, construction project going on. I'd get like
How
home
did you
from
get
classes
it out after it was done?
carefully. We were on the first floor of our apartment complex, and we had a backyard, not a backyard, but like a back patio, so we could kind of like fold the wings and kind of get it through the back patio door
Okay.
without having to ruin it. But I'd get home from classes, and like our friend who doesn't live with us would just be there like working on the plane. It was just this whole elaborate project. So that was very memorable for us.
Nice.
I'll see
Well,
if I can find I'm sure I can find the snakes on a plane, the result of the snakes on a plane picture.
Wait, that's a picture I gotta see. That sounds amazing.
I'll find it.
All right, I got to brag about one thing first before I reveal my favorite. When my kids were young, once again, I was terribly negligent in regard to them on movies and what they would see and what I would let them see. For Halloween, they did Snake Plissken. One of them was Snake Plissken from Escape from New York, and the
I
other
love
was
it.
Snake Plissken from Escape from LA.
This is parenting done right. What are you talking about?
So it was pretty damn cool. I enjoyed that, but that was not my costume. That was their costume. My favorite costume is a couple's costume that I did in 1978. And it was exactly what you expect. I'm a huge Kiss fan, so I did Gene Simmons and my wife, who at the time was still my girlfriend. She was Cher, and we because Gene Simmons and Cher were dating at the time,
Perfect.
and it was a lot of fun. We won a little bit of a costume contest at the party that we went to, and it's an easy picture for me to find. And when I was a kid, I had a couple of good costumes that I had. I had a marine outfit, but on the back I had a turning um, key, like for a wind-up toy. So it
Ah,
was like I was a little wind-up soldier that I could carry around, and that
That's
I
super cool.
I have to dig that out because it was kind of cool, you know. So those are the ones that I have that were a lot of fun. Nothing too scary, unless you think that Gene Simmons' tongue is scary.
I do.
Because I did do the tongue thing.
I find that man to be mostly nightmare fuel.
Well, good. Then it is truly horrifying. Well, my friends, there'll be food and drinks and ghosts and perhaps even a few murders. You've all been invited to the Lambcast. Thank you for joining us this week. Before we go, I want to give everybody a chance to promote things that they would like people to turn their eyes and ears to. So if you've got something that you think people might want to see or hear, tell us about it. Matt, what have you got to share with the world?
Yeah, so the site is dtvconnoisseur.blogspot.com. It's direct to video connoisseur. Yeah, you can go there for kind of links to everything. So I do my blog post there on direct to video movies. We also have the podcast, the DTVC podcast, which you can find on most major podcatchers. We have a YouTube channel as well, DTV Connoisseur on YouTube, where mostly it's the podcast that goes there, but I do post original videos where I'll watch direct to video action sequences and comment over them. So you can check that out as well. Then the other things, I'm a writer. I have novels that I put out. So my most recent one from last year is Nadia and Aiden, which you can still get right now. Funny we mentioned Billy Zane because these two characters, they come from France and they go to America to kind of get in touch with their American heritage because their mother's American. And the first night they get to America, a young woman introduces them to Titanic because she says it's her favorite movie, and they talk about how much they love Billy Zane in that movie. So it's kind of like the joke of the opening chapter there. But you can buy that on Amazon if you just type in Nadia and Aiden. And then my newest book is going to come out. I'm hoping Black Friday. It's going to be called Mark and Sales. It's based off. It's a kind of a continuation of my first novel, Chad in Accounting. So it kind of takes place in the same world as that one. It's about a guy who sells health insurance in the late 2010s, and he's really good at it despite how bad the health insurance is. So initially it starts off with his success stories, and then we start to hear kind of the people who are affected by their companies changing over to this bad health insurance, and he starts to kind of have a crisis of confidence and decide what he wants to do with himself. So you can check that out again. All my books are on Amazon. If you look up Matthew Poirier, my author page is MatthewPoirierAuthor.com. If you check that out.
Very good. We've got Blu-rays that people are going to be buying, and now we've got books that people are going to be buying. I've got to put a commercial link in this. Aaron, how about you?
Oh,
You've
boy.
always got something.
Yeah, I of course host the podcast Out Now with Aaron and Abe with my friend Abe. We talk about weekly movie releases, and it's October, so as I mentioned, we have our horror-themed bonus episodes all month long as well. We've done horror epics, first-time horror watches. Let's see, we're doing a Day of the Dead commentary for its 40th anniversary. We talked about Canadian horror, and we ranked our favorite VHS segments all this year, so plenty of fun content there. I am a writer as well. I'm the editor-in-chief at We Live Entertainment. All my movie reviews can be found there, and everything I do can be found on my personal blog, thecodazeek.substack.com. That said, I also co-host the podcast Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla, and at the time of this recording, we are currently up for 2 podcast awards at the Astra Podcast Awards.
Yay!
We will find out tomorrow if Terrence and I win said awards, but we are certainly excited to see what's going to come of this. But we've been doing this podcast since March. It's a lot of fun. I'm a big Godzilla fan. My co-host Terrence, a fellow film critic, he's Godzilla curious. So he's seeing all of these mostly for the first time. So we're watching everything in chronological order. We finished the Showa era, so that's all the 60s and 70s Godzilla films. And we're excited to get into the 80s and 90s with the Heisei era. But yeah, a lot of fun. Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla. New episodes every 2 weeks.
I assume I'll see the results on social media if you win, right?
You'll see the results regardless because we'll be very sore losers. No, it's fun just the fact that we've started this podcast in earnest and we've become as popular as we have. So
very nice. Jeanette, have you got something that people might want to watch or look at or
I really
hear?
don't.
That's okay.
I am not up to date on any
No.
of my stuff, so feel free to. If you follow me on the YouTubes, I've been posting more videos of the dance troupe. So if you do want to check out some fun belly dance, look me up over there on the YouTubes. And my site for my very short movie reviews is jwardadventures.blogspot.com, which I am, trying to keep up to date. I haven't been to the theater in far too long, so I'm working on it. Life
saw
has
Sinners.
been. I did see Sinners. I wanted to see Good Fortune. Haven't gotten there yet. There's been a lot of just, adulting is not fair, first of all, and there's too much, secondly. So, yeah, I guess I'm looking for some free time.
Well, we're always happy to share your dance troupe, and so don't say that you don't have something to share because obviously you do. And the reviews on J Ward Adventures, I'm glad that they're there whenever I do catch them. So that's good
Yeah, thanks.
news.
Yeah, feel free to. The video I just posted of our dance troupe, the event we did last weekend was a Samhain Festival, and they had us perform around a fire at the end for kind of a ritual, which was really cool. But before then, we did a sword number that I posted, which in my head was great, but boy, it was dark. So all you can see is like bits of light reflecting off the swords, which in its own way, pretty cool. So
That
feel
is
free to
cool.
check that out.
You didn't do the flaming swords?
I did not. That is not an ambition I've had. It's just I'm not looking to be. And plus, the costuming it's real flammable.
I
So
gotcha.
no, thank you.
I gotcha. Lisa, have you got anything that's in flames that we ought to be looking at?
Yeah, there's some things that people may want to set aflame. So you can catch me and a crazy network of people and our thoughts on the Rabbit Hole Podcast Network. I am currently working on a show with Jason Soto called Fit for a King, and we are working through a number of different films that Stephen King has called out and crowed about for whatever reason, either on Twitter or in his book Dance Macabre, sometimes in on writing. Whatever it is, we've tracked them down, we've put together a list, and we're watching them and talking about them. And then you can catch me showing up on other people's podcasts quite a bit. I was recently on Todd Liebenau's The Forgotten Filmcast, talking about White of the Eye. I've been here on the LAMBcast pretty recently, so you can catch me here. And I don't know, just keep an ear out, because chances are I'll show up somewhere with whatever opinions I've got at the time.
I'll second that. I love being on everyone else's podcast. It's my favorite thing. Thanks, everyone.
Same.
And I'm glad that you guys love being on podcasts, because I love having guests on podcasts. It's always fun when it's not just me talking. So, and you've all been very good about responding to my requests. And like I said, I really appreciate the fact that everybody followed through, even though we weren't doing the film that we were originally going to be doing today, that you all joined us for this particular activity. It was a lot of fun.
You'll have to wait and hear my opinions about Ludi Lynn's facial reconstructive surgeries.
Oh my goodness. So we're going to be doing all those things in the future. And on my site, I'm just still trying to keep up with everything that I see in the theater. I think I'm 4 behind right now, so I've got a few films to catch up with. The last 2 that I did finally get a post on were Tron Ares, which was fine for what it was. I'd see it on a big screen, see it in 3D, eat some popcorn, and then never remember what you saw, because it's fine.
Okay, that is exactly what I needed to know. Should I see it on a big screen in 3D?
Yeah,
I know
yes.
I'm going to see Predator Badlands on a big screen in 3D, so
Well, Tron's currently bombing, so if you want to catch it, you got to catch it.
Yeah, you got to go
I'm
quickly.
not going to lie to you. Did not realize it had already been released.
Yeah. It's not going to be out for much longer.
It's pretty much what you expect it to be. It looks great on the screen. It's very impressive with all the effects. Oh, and the soundtrack's great. So see it on a big screen with a loud sound system. And if you could see it in 3D, I didn't see it in 3D, and I wish I had, because I think I would have enjoyed it even more.
It's a good, I'm not one to be like, you got to see this in 3D, and I'm still not going to be that way.
Yeah.
But if you happen to see it in 3D, I recommend it, because it does do the job. So.
There's something a little bit extra there. And then I may have been the only person in the country who saw Kiss of the Spider Woman.
That's right. I forgot that was out too. Jeez.
And that was out, and I don't know if you'll find it. I think opening weekend they did $800,000 worth of business. Not $8 million worth of business, $800,000 worth of business.
Oh dear.
I think maybe J-Lo's attitude has started to catch up with her.
Well, but, when you don't advertise the movie at all, that doesn't help.
Yeah,
it was like
there was a whole bunch of nothing there that was going on. I barely remembered that it was out, and I said, "Oh, that's out. I want to see that." So
I mean, it didn't get the best buzz when it came out of Sundance back in January. So I can understand why.
It was. I enjoyed it very much, but
I've heard a lot of people enjoy it. Yeah,
I'm a sucker for musicals, and there's a very it's got the vibe from the old style RKO musicals as part of what's going on there. So I enjoyed that immensely. And, I inevitably there were comparisons that I felt like I had to make to the William Hurt, Raul Julia film. The 2 guys in it, I think, are very good. And I kind of I had not seen the musical on stage. I'd only seen the movie, and I hadn't read the book. So I was kind of wondering, how do you turn this into a musical? And I could see how it might have worked on stage, but I think it worked pretty well as a movie. So I don't know if anybody will get a chance to see it, but I've had a few thoughts about it. So there you go. Well, once again, I want to thank you all for joining me. I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner, so we have to go. Bye, everybody.
You've been listening to the LAMBcast. If you have an idea for a show or would like to join us on the LAMBcast, contact us at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Find us on Facebook, just search for LAMBcast, or on X, formerly Twitter, at LAMBcast. And you can find us on YouTube as well. The LAMB site can be found at largeassmovieblogs.com. We'd also love it if you would leave a review on iTunes.